Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to my stream. Well, we're gonna draw stuff.
Can you see my comment?
Did you just post a comment? Where?
Please, nothing.
Yes, now it is there. I can see your comments. I can see your heart. Thank you for giving me a heart. Yeah, we're gonna draw stuff here. In about 25 minutes, there's an interview going to start. I'm not the person who is interviewing. I'm not the person who is being interviewed. It is the interviewer is XRPP, who is big in the crypto community, the XRP community, and we have the famous programmer Wietse, and they're gonna make an interview, and I'm gonna log in there too, because after that there is a trivia show where I'm gonna be probably a co-host, and that's why we're gonna replace the music with that trivia stuff. But this is just the shite show. It's the sideshow. It's not a shit show. It's not a shite show. It's the sideshow. And yeah, mainly we are focusing on drawing here. So if you want to hang out, just hang out with me and let's draw. We're gonna draw Ryu as an NFT. We're gonna put a famous person from the crypto community as a reference here, which is Joel Katz. And kind of yeah, um, part of that community, and that's why often things I draw are revolving about that. I'm making an NFT series about that. And yeah, that's why this is the topic of the drawing. And I make NFT series. It's kind of like with a wink wink to the board apes. If you know the board apes, it was on Ethereum, a famous NFT series. And this is called Board Cats, and we're gonna make this person I'm referring to in different themes. And the theme now is Street Fighter. We're gonna draw Ryu as we have Ryu as a reference, and I'm gonna use that person. I'm gonna put him into this. I will draw him as a Ryu. If that makes sense. So let's try to get the general gesture here. Let's try to catch the cranial mouth. I'm gonna go down a little bit with the opacity. So they're just helping lines to find the right shape. I actually want to do it a little bit bigger. So let's decrease the opacity. This is his head, yeah? Like that. Put it at an angle. This is the brow line. And then he has a neck going on here. We have his back. We have a strong foreshortening. We see his rib cage. His shoulders are almost vertical, actually. He has a very big chest, from all the practicing and training. So we're trying to capture that. We don't see the shoulder because the shoulder is kind of hidden behind his head. The lower I make this corner, the more we see him from the top. This is basically his rib cage, yeah? And then he makes because he's twisting to the side, you actually see him in side view, and then you have underneath already, because a little bit of the side view, his pelvis. See how this perspective is gonna work out. I put it's called the robo bean, you know? You simplify the shape of a human into actually like the upper body or the center, the core mass, into two cubes, and that's it. One cube is actually the rib cage until the 10th rib. Let's see, we have sort of an angle in here. He has his feet like that. This one goes down. So this one is kind of going like so. We still have that angle with the knees. So it kind of needs to go like this. Maybe we can pull his knee a little bit further down. That's basically the size of it. I can make him actually even a little bigger. I don't feel like that his legs are filling out the area I want them to do. He also needs a bigger pelvis for that. So the other leg. So he has this unique, this position everybody knows when he's doing his attack. It reminds of the Kamehameha from Dragon Ball, but it's not. I think you call it Heidoken. So I'm just trying to catch the gesture. We're not drawing stick figures here. We're trying to catch the dynamic here. So the way it connects is actually further in the front because we're seeing a lot of the back, you know? Seeing a lot of the back. And by the way, if you can't chat with me, please let me know on any of the platforms, like on Twitter, when you can't chat, then you can comment under the post when I went live. So I really want to know if people have trouble now chatting with me because I'm doing multi-streaming. And it should actually be possible that everybody could chat with me, could engage, and could actually also engage with people from other platforms when they are chatting. So here we kind of see, I'm drawing cylinders in now. We have this like you have three bones, these two and this one, and in space they always kind of form a triangle. This helps me to then define from where I am looking at the cylinder. So now it's clear that I'm actually looking, that the forearm is kind of disappearing, like not disappearing, but it's going to the back, to the background. You can't? Nobody can see? Oh yeah, I see it. It's still like that.
What?
Only my friends can see it.
Yeah.
I really have to go into the settings because we were changing it today.
Can you do that now?
Now is a problem because it slows the whole thing down. So we will do it before the next stream when I'm offline. That's kind of bad. We switched actually the. Wait, can I change it here? Is the question.
The three dots.
Three
It is
dots.
privacy for viewer. You see it?
I see something here.
Ah, you're not on Facebook. You're in the app now.
But I saw something. Why did it disappear? I was able to. Ah, yeah. Here. There you go.
Finish?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now I see it.
You see it? Okay, yeah, it worked. Then it worked out.
You want me to go? Can you see who's watching you?
I can't see who is watching me now, no.
You can?
No, I can't.
Ah.
Can with a T.
That's fine. I'm seeing it now.
Okay. Alrighty. We actually have to emphasize this line a little bit more, give it a curve because we're looking from below. Like so, then here you have the hand. So, yeah, that's an important thing because otherwise nobody would be able to see that, right? Nobody would be able to engage. So here we have the other hand. He's kind of having like this. Do you see it on the camera? Like this position, right? And he's standing with stable feet on the ground. So we will. This is just laying the groundwork, you know. This is nothing detailed right now. We're gonna get there. But for doing the details and everything, we need to have also the knowledge about anatomy and everything. All right. I don't know. We're gonna indicate the fingers just a little bit. And then the actual ball is kind of floating in there. Okay. I think I have to make the head a little bit smaller. Make it believable. It's everything on one layer still. Hmm. I think it's not much we have to correct, just a little bit. Actually, the smaller the head is in relation to the rest of the body, the bigger in total that creature looks. Like if we would draw Godzilla, for example, with a huge head compared to the body, nobody would believe that he is actually as big as a house. That that is because of the relations we are used to, you know. Like a normal human being is 7 to 8 heads high. A kid is just 4 or 5 heads high. That means that when the relation of head to the rest of the body is in a certain relation, it reminds us of either an adult or a kid. So here we have the, you can actually make it boxy, you know? Like let's imagine they go like this. This is actually how we look at the leg, right? And here too, we see it more from the side view. We have a little bit of an angle. So we see it from top and the side. We don't see much from the front plane. I even want to pull it a little bit further, I think. The corner where the kneecap is. Like so. Then we have the muscles coming out, yeah? And since we're looking from this, we look at the cylinder of the leg now. If we draw cross contour lines, we would look at it like this. On this side, because we see the front of this rectangular shape, right? We see it like this. Since this stream is called pre-party of the interview, I have to talk a little bit also about what's the interview about. I also want to talk about the project itself. I feel a little bit like in the Oscar shows, you know, when they do all those interviews in the beginning, and they're gonna question, okay, what is he gonna wear, and like who's gonna win today. It's not too much, luckily, like that. It's just like a casual interview. I don't know. I think only people are really like there, then they know these people. But inside that community, they are famous. They were. Oh, the guy who is in the interview actually, he is the programmer of the Zaman app, where we are always sending the Zerpi. He's the programmer of that. So yeah, they are known for doing applications and side chains also, and yeah, I don't want to pick up all the topics. If you're interested, you can listen to the interview itself, and then it's mixed because I said like at first there is the interview, right? And then there will be a trivia show where people who are in that community they can participate and actually get a point for answering minimum 7 out of 10 questions right. And when they get to do that, then at the end of the week, they are getting money for that in form of crypto. Actually, they don't have to pay to participate. So every week they have a chance to show their skill of like knowledge and everything, common knowledge, geography, whatever, spelling contest, kinds of things like that. And then they can earn really money for that. And I have to say, like the guy who's hosting it does it in a really entertaining way. Sometimes, like because people are doing clips of it, of funny moments, and yeah, you can. I don't know. It cracks me up listening to those things. But it's of course it's the humor of the situation. If I would explain that jokes to you now, it would be completely not funny. It's like that rule I gave myself, never explain a joke. This is the most awkward moment you can get yourself into. Like you tell a joke, it seems like nobody's laughing, and then you're starting to explain it, and it's not like suddenly somebody, oh, now I get it, and starting to laugh. It will stay super weird, and it's getting even weirder in trying to explain it. Never explain a joke. Huh? That was not a joke. I'm giving you some life lessons, babe. You should support me in that. Import me, babe, import me. Okay, this is he's wearing his karate gi. I learned the outfit in karate is called a gi. But first, let's get the anatomy right because you can really clearly, you can see, because the look of Ryu is normally that he's not wearing any sleeves. It's ripped apart, so you can see his well-trained muscles, right? This is the deltoid, which is kind of almost going halfway the arm down. Oh shit, I didn't start recording. Oh man, okay, doesn't matter. So I didn't start recording. That's why I can do it now. Because I always do fast forward video of those things. Here you go. Now it's recording. And as I see, the interview starts in just about 4 minutes. It's yeah, this is like, I want to tell you about the Zerpy community. It's a community which is actually, they built a project on the XRP ledger, and this is all cryptocurrency. And they started out as a meme token. They are not a meme token, in my opinion, because a meme token is only for memes, like for entertainment. That's it. But they're doing so much more. They are creating a gaming platform where you have play to earn, learn to earn. People can give a system where you can actually earn more Zerpy, as I already said, with the trivia and other missions. These missions are often like doing something which is increasing the range of the project, and then they have more planned where there's a mechanism this is actually which is actually burning the Zerpy to create like a loss of supply by creating demand. That's kind of the goal here, and I'm not a founder of that. I'm a part of that community, definitely. I'm not paid by the project, but I'm participating in those missions. There's no like salary, you know. So yeah, I just wanna spread the idea, you know, get the word out about this. So when people just want to participate, then that's how they can. So if you want to, just it's ZERPAAY.com for the website. They have a Twitter account or X account, how you call it today, right? To make the shoulder bigger. So it's ZERPAA, so it's double A, Y. ZERPAAY. So this is the deltoid. You can already tell how massive it is, and also that you don't see much of the biceps. You see definitely more of the triceps, which is kind of coming out here. And we're almost ready to join the interview. I'm gonna go into the X here. I'm gonna stop the music, and I will mute my mic, and I will listen through my headphones. But you'll be able to hear the interview in its full length. And the trivia show afterwards, of course. Give it a chance, listen to it, it's really entertaining. You'll chuckle. It has a chuckle guarantee.
Wait,
Yes.
what do you call that house? Or house? Something.
Mitt. Oven mitt. This is English. Mittens, oven mitt. Yeah. Ah, think about getting some? All right, so let's do it. Let's see how this goes. I am going to switch off the music. Now we will go on X. And I will mute my mic too, because otherwise when I talk here with my headphones, also the mic that will be doubled. Where is the headphones are here? They are here. Beautiful. I will switch it off for a moment because there's some copyright music going on. It's just welcoming music right now. I think he's just giving some time to for people to join. Then we're going to continue our drawings. You see already how we put the muscles on the arms. I don't like where the elbow is. I have to move the elbow a little bit lower because it makes the arm too thin. Too thin. But we'll deal with that in a moment.
He's here. He's unpacking the car. He's here. He's un- he did. I had you in my ear, and I had to put you on speaker so he can and make it really loud so he can hear it while he's unloading the car. We just got to New Hampshire. I don't know. He's now moving the car, but you'll ask him later because I see Wietse joined.
to kind of fool people in a way that doesn't hurt anyone but brings a smile to their face, puts everything in perspective, and so on. So that song is kind of fitting. But XRPP has to apologize because this morning it was not a gag like it kind of was with my quote unquote Brad Garlinghouse interview the other day, which was actually just a Death Hot Dog show that we had 4,000 people tune into. But this one is actually real. And I had scheduled Mr. Wietse Wind to be on the show a month ago. I had scheduled him for today. And he had requested, because we normally have the show at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And I'm like, hey, this is when our show is. He's like, it doesn't work for me. How about we do it later? I'm like, hey, buddy, for you, I would have it at midnight my time. That's great. Okay, let's do it. And then the day came, it's a long month. The day came, I had it on my calendar for 4 p.m. Eastern time. Hey, great. What did I do? I put it on for 9 a.m. Eastern time, like our normal shows are. And then I host the show. And I'm like, all right, great. Wietse Wind is showing up. And, we get 10 minutes into the show. I send him a message. Hey, it's live now. And then it hits me. Son of a bitch. I was supposed to schedule it for 4 o'clock. So that is complete. When I'm wrong, it doesn't happen often. It's very extremely. Is there a word that's more extreme than extremely? It's extremely rare that I'm ever wrong. But I was wrong in this instance. Some of my people tried to take the hit for me, but no, I have wide shoulders. I have big books. I can take the heat. So, Mr. Wietse Wind, thank you so much for joining us at the actual time. You had it right. I had it wrong. Thanks for giving us the time, good sir.
My pleasure. It's
We,
great to help out using this opportunity to prove you're human too. So
for those of you who don't know, Wietse Wind and I go back a little ways. Not only are we countrymen because Wietse Wind is from the Netherlands. My national background, I guess you could say, is my heritage is from the Netherlands. The first PP came over, and this is no bullshit. I can't say my real name, but the first PP came over from the Netherlands in about 1901. I think he came over, and that's very cool. So we're kind of countrymen, Wietse, but we actually go back a little ways because I've known Wietse since. Well, actually, I've known Wietse since 2017 because he was kind of involved with like XRP chat and stuff like that. This was
I
before
really like the
Tesla
dynamic.
Wallet.
Once I
This was
put the head a
before
little
all that.
lower,
He was kind of an
good
XRP
one.
enthusiast, and I remember when he had XRP Tipbot. XRPP actually made a kind of an instruction video just out of my own pocket and out of my own time for the XRP Tipbot. I don't know if you remember that, Wietse.
I think I do. I hope I remember the right video, but
It was a
yeah.
crappy video. It was a crappy video, but it was, I at least showed people what the XRP Tipbot was, and I hired a voice actor and everything to do it.
Yeah, so
And then
same
also,
video in mind.
Wietse also was the subject of several good-natured XRP production satire articles. One of which we turned in. Me and Michael, who is my co-founder on the Zerpe project, Michael and I made like a newspaper poster of the article, and we sent it to him, and he has it there at XRPL Labs right now. And Michael actually interviewed Wietse with another organization. I think it was in 2022, Wietse, that Michael actually interviewed you.
Yeah, around maybe 1.5, 2 years ago. The really professional setup and interview.
He's a
It's
he's
a very nice interview.
a very professional guy. He had nothing but nice things to say about you. So okay, so let's dispatch with all of that. Wietse, you're here for a reason, and that is to talk about all the things that we want to just get out there. And I want to, of course, bring up certain subjects, but I want to give you free reign to express your opinions. And I want you to, if you can, speak as candidly as possible. And I know that you do. You're a pretty honest guy. You're pretty measured. You're pretty pragmatic. I would assume that you're magnanimous, like I am. But you never really have any problem with like voicing your opinion. Please continue to do so today because we have a bevy of things to talk about. How much time do you have? I want to make sure that we respect your time.
I have basically unlimited time. It's night, family
Whoa!
is asleep. The only challenge I have is to get my wife's car out of the out of the field behind our house because she thought it was a good idea to park there, and the soil is very moist. So right now the car is flat on the
So
on the on the soil, but that's for later.
so okay, fantastic. So there in Amersfoort, it is about what a little after 10 o'clock at night, and you say you have unlimited time to talk about all things XRPL and Zahao, but you you need to get your wife's car out of the quicksand at some
Yeah,
point. So
it's
that puts a
crazy.
little
But
pressure on.
that's for later. I mean, it's slowly sinking. So
Okay,
this is
this is
yeah.
I can say this is one thing I did not expect when this interview
No,
started.
this
Okay,
is
great.
also another problem I thought I would be dealing with.
Okay, well, fair enough. You always have a lot on your plate. Okay, let's get to it because I guess the one thing that is unavoidable right now is, and how should I put this? All right, let's try to be as eloquent as possible. There are plenty of interesting discussions that are going on right now around the XRP ledger, and I think they center around several things, and I want to get your opinion on these things one at a time. Number one, the health of the XRP ledger as a network, as a blockchain, if you want to say that. There have been some concerns lately as far as, hey, there's some people who provide infrastructure for the XRP ledger that seem to be unhappy. They seem to be leaving for whatever reason. What is Wietse Win's take on the health of the XRP ledger at the moment? Let's start with that.
This is a very well. Probably all of your questions are going to be very hard to answer because there's always the perspective to consider, right? And this is not binary. There are many factors when it comes to health. I think overall the network is healthy, and I think part of these problems and hurdles and basically the never ending um, journey trying to find out how to keep it running is part of a healthy network, right? It sounds weird because the discussions we're seeing and the potential troubles uh, we're facing when certain people don't feel like running infra anymore for all good reasons, right? I don't think that will ever fully be solved because there are always components to the network that you can't easily scale, that require special knowledge, and that um, simply not many people can run even in the best case. So right now you're referring to the hubs by Alloy. Um, that's not an easy thing to fix, and this might be a problem that never goes away. It could. There are solutions, but it requires a lot of work from a lot of people. It's hard to find those people. It's hard to find people with the skills, with the time, with the resources to run it. And I think this will be a problem or a challenge forever. But if it isn't hubs, then it might be public infra. If it isn't public infra, it might be what the UNL looks like. If it's not the UNL, it might be that suddenly everyone starts to use the ledger, and we finally have to address a TPS challenge, which, by the way, is not a challenge we have to address right now. Things are running smoothly because we're not hitting the TPS. So I think we will always be facing challenges, and that's okay. So the worries that you see if, for example, one component to the entire operation changes, I don't think um, it's as bad as people think it is. There's a lot of confusion. Um, what it comes down to is that yeah, there more people, more companies, more businesses need to step up their game in different ways, basically. But that's not a problem we face right now. We always face that with Ledger, and we might always face it.
Okay, and that is a pretty nuanced answer as I expected. But let's kind of clarify because you're saying that there are and I think it's like Alloy Networks who they shut down a hub. Can you define
Well, so
is
he
for
didn't shut it down. He's been running it for years, and he announced that he will be shutting it down at the end of the year. Right. So this is about as reasonable as it gets, if you ask me, because he has been doing this for many years, and no one even realized he's there doing it, and it's an important role. So I think we should all be very grateful that he did. And he also didn't just pull the plug. He gave the entire ecosystem a year to find another solution. And I'll explain in a second how, but there's even a solution without anyone else stepping up, right? So there are solutions, but it requires actions, and that's his message. His message is we did this for a long time, or he did this for a long time. It's time for someone else to step up in any way. And I think it's a very reasonable message. And I also think that giving a sundown period of a year is very, very generous. Um, it is a shame that it reached a point where, I mean, it's always on a skill, right? There's upsides, downsides. What do you get out of it? How much can you put in of it? Because this is not a an operation. Running hubs is not an operation that will ever get you to break even. It's also not something that other than, for example, public nodes or maybe even validators. It's not something that is easily offset by running a business. There are components to the network, to the ledger, and I don't think that's also not XRPL specific. There are components that just need to be there, and it's not reasonable for everyone running their business on the XRPL, for example, to contribute to that. One, because it doesn't scale, or two, because it's too hard to operate, or three, because it really doesn't help if there are 100 different entities running it. Um, but no, I think it's very reasonable that he did. It's a shame that he felt like he he didn't get enough value anymore out of the ecosystem to keep on running it. At the same time, I think that's not why he announced stopping running the hubs. It's really just because he did it for a long time. It's time for the next person to do so for the next company. Um, and then what the hubs are. So if you look at the decentralized ledger, it's kind of similar to what we did many years ago, and I think most of us here did play around with that at some point, where you had torrents, right? You would download using torrents, so you would download a small file. The file didn't contain anything of the content you wanted to download. It just contained pointers, basically identifiers to where you could fetch stuff and what you were fetching. And then if you would use LimeWire or any of the other, or even before that, Gaza or any of the peer-to-peer or torrent-like download solutions, you would first have a very low download speed, and then over time you would get more and more peers, and your download speed would increase. And the ledger works kind of similar, where you need to connect to one or two or three peers on the network just to be plugged into the network, and you know what the consensus ledger is, you know what the transaction information is, and then they have other peers, so they communicate to you, well, I'm peer to this and this and this and this node, you can try them too. So your node then tries all of them, and then they have peers and they share those peers with you, and some of them accept connections and some don't. But as you are connected for a longer time, the amount of connections you have with other peers grow, and you're paired directly. But that all starts by setting up a connection to where actually, where would you start connecting for the very first time before you know where else to try to connect? Well, those are hubs, and it was exactly the same with those download programs. So there are a few central ones, and I'm choosing my words correctly here. That is centralized. There are a couple of centralized locations where you can get your first peering connections, and then you take it from there. And once you have set up connections with other peers, once you know who others on the network are, you do not need the hubs anymore, because you can connect to them straight away. And RippleD remembers who you paired with in the past. So once you connected to them, um, you the next time you start your node, it directly tries the others because it knows that you were connected to them at some point.
so
Um, So the hubs are very important, and the hubs do crazy amounts of bandwidth. And there are three, or actually two, if you look at those that really handle the bandwidth. Two hubs running today. One is Ripple's, one is Alloy Networks, and one is from a university, but it doesn't have the capacity the Ripple and Alloy Networks hub do. And his message to the entire ecosystem is, I've done this for a long time. He's looking at 5-digit bills every month for bandwidth and server costs. And he keeps on seeing, I mean, we got his message. We could all read his message. There have been very many messages about entities using the ledger. And his message is, let some of them step up. I've done this a long time. It's time for the next one, and find someone in the next year. I think that's reasonable.
So I think that is as well. But all of this begs the question: who would who is building on the XRP ledger presently would be having the resources, and also of course, because the need will be there, but who would have the resources to go ahead and actually run a hub, which if it's 5 figures a month that it's going to cost someone, that's no small amount. So then I don't know if anyone yet has stepped up to say, okay, we're going to take that on. But a lot of people, at least that I know of, a lot of people who are building on the XRP ledger right now, they're struggling to, make their enterprise work. And so they might not be, there might be some that I'm unaware of, but they might not be in a position where they can spend the 5 figures a month in order to.
No, and you can do it for less, right? It also you can do it for a lot less. So that would be a solution. I think another solution would be, and that's David Schwartz commented on this, and he's right. But there's what we all want to happen, and there's what will happen in reality. We as an ecosystem, we can. So this will partially help, right? But for the existing nodes, as an ecosystem, we could step up and say, okay, we're not going to use the hubs. We're going to make sure that we all interact with each other, that we know where to find each other, and we're going to peer directly, because you don't have to use a hub. You just need a pointer in your Ripple config to another node that already has peers. And if we all accept public connections and we share our connection information with others, then you don't even need a hub. You can just directly peer with others on the network because they published their information for everyone to find. That would be better than needing a hub, right? This doesn't have to use a centralized hub. But in reality, if you want people to just fire up a node and get connected in no time, a hub definitely helps. It just makes it easier because you can configure a standard centralized location in the default config, which is what Ripple would use when you started for the first time if you don't read the manual and don't try to find other community members that would accept your connection. But there is an easy solution, which would be for everyone to just publish their peering information.
Okay, so is that something that you're personally advocating and others are advocating for right now?
Well,
People
I
publish.
think both. I think both should happen, right? I think this should happen, and it will take some of the load of running a hub. I think a hub would still be necessary because if you want to onboard people into the ecosystem on a technical level, on the level of running a node, which again the entire ecosystem has an advantage if people learn how to do that because they don't rely on public infrastructure. Then yeah, you will get people who are going to need the hub anyway. So there's not a direct problem because Ripple is running one too. But we have to ask ourselves: is that the network we want? Where if you don't know anyone else in the ecosystem and don't peer directly with them, that basically the only way to find others on the network would be through infrastructure Ripple runs. I think the answer is no. Um, but I also don't know who. I mean, we would be in a position from a standpoint of having the knowledge to run a hub, but I think XRPL Labs is doing maybe even too much already. So we're not going to step up here. And And it might also be the case that someone runs a hub uh, in a much more um, financially efficient way than the very, very high quality infrastructure that we have today, thanks to alloy networks. So I don't really have one answer, but there are things we can do.
Okay, so if you had a magic wand and you could set everything up right now the way that you would want it in order for the XRP ledger to function as well as it possibly could and could increase its TPS and could have good health and so on. What are the main things that you would want to do with your magic wand? Because I think a lot of people are trying to even understand. A lot of people are in this space; they're not even technical, and I'm pretty much one of those. I'm trying, but a lot of people are like me, and they're just like, I just don't understand the problem, and they get confused by a lot of messages.
Yeah,
And a lot of people they truly want to help in whatever way that they're able to help. But what are the main things for the health and the function of the XRP ledger that you'd like to see? You talked about, of course, someone having to step up and run hubs, publishing their peer information.
yeah.
What else? What else when it comes to
This,
validating?
there are way too many angles and answers for this question. There are many things. List is endless. So there's not one thing to fix with that magic wand. I guess there's something to address. There are many things to address at any given time. More projects should run and consume their own infra, but there's a asterisk behind it because it's not that easy. I will explain in a second. Um, Preferably, we would have a network where a hub isn't needed. A lot of technical debt should be addressed in the source code of RippleD. I mean, there's a lot of code that could be improved to make it more efficient, and things like that would increase TPS. Um, there, yeah, no, there really is a lot to do. Uh, there's not an immediate problem where if we don't do this right now, the network is in danger. But yeah, there are definitely things that we could do to improve. But um, not all the things can be done by everyone, right? So from a perspective of a developer, like a really core developer, I would say prioritize just do sessions of new features and then do sessions of uh, basically the boring stuff, fixing what's already there, improving what's already there. So if you do, let's say, 2 months of feature building, and then you do 2 months of cleanup, and then 2 months of feature building, and you just keep on swapping between them, I think you make what you have healthier as well, the core you build on. So less prioritizing of new features, no matter how fun they are, and addressing some technical debt, better testing stacks, get data, test with the data, improve certain things, replay the data, see if you get better results, and just continue with these processes.
To me, all of this seems actually a little bit encouraging, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't hear anything from your language or your tone, which is we have these big, huge problems that are detrimental to the function of the XRP ledger. We have a crisis on our hands.
Everything can be fixed. Everything can be fixed. There's no fire. Everything can be improved. I do worry about the priorities, right? Um, as I said, it's 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 much cooler to ship new features, but at the same time, if you're shipping new features on a core that has increasing scaling issues, then maybe it's time to look at addressing the technical debt in the core. Another thing is that, for example, and this is something that I know RippleX engineers are working on as well. Um, Another thing is that RippleD is one big piece of software that has all the responsibilities, right? So you have one binary, RippleD. It's responsible for uh, connecting to a hub, maintaining a mesh, the peering connections, validating, serving RPC queries from users, right? So if you run a public infrastructure or you have a project to answer those requests from users, it has many responsibilities, and they're start you're getting resource conflicts in as the network gets more complex, more transaction types, more transactions, etc., etc. You're running into resource conflicts in this one binary. And you can address that partially by scaling horizontally or just getting beefier machines, right? If even faster hard drives, even more memory, even better CPUs, even more bandwidth. But there's a limit to that, and it shouldn't be necessary, because if we accept, and that's actually where we are today, which means there's not a problem because it still works, it still scales, but it's not feasible and it's not maintainable over a long period of time. If the solution right now is to basically buy more and expensive hardware, then you're pricing out the people who might want to help, right? Because maybe someone wants to help, but they can't spend 20K on a machine. So maybe we should look at optimizing the software we have instead of shipping new features every now and then, and say, okay, let's improve the software to the point where normal commodity hardware can run it efficiently again under a certain load, and then separate the responsibilities. Why should an RPC node be responsible for things like mesh and validation? Why should uh, uh, why should a node that's pairing with everyone and publishing validations also be responsible for providing peer, right? So part of it is how you configure it, but part of it is also just taking features out instead of adding them.
You know, every night when I lay my head down on my pillow, I think, why should an RPC node be responsible for mesh and the other thing that you said? I think
Yeah.
that all. Yeah. So so who would be the one or the ones to initiate something like that? Would that be something that a particular amendment is brought up for, or is
You
this?
do, no, you don't really need amendments. The amendments are misunderstood as well. So you can change code to Ripple D that really changes how it behaves internally without it ever having to be an amendment. Um, an amendment is only required if it changes the logic of consensus, right? So as soon as you change code in the source that results in a different ruling on what's valid and what's not valid when it comes to transactions, that requires an amendment. But if you want to change, if you want to optimize source code, if you want to strip out code, make it more efficient, remove certain routines, fix locking mechanisms, take out certain RPC responsibilities, you don't even need an amendment for that. That's just a change to the core software, and it will change nothing in how that machine determines if a transaction is valid or not. So you don't even need an amendment for that. You just need an update. And who would work on that? Well, my team is working on it, and RippleX, I think, should be working on it. And in an ideal world, this is where we can use the magic wand. In an ideal world, more companies would not only consume XRPL resources but also contribute intellectual property and coding resources to it. But I just don't know who that would be today.
Okay, and so that is a good segue into the next discussion, which is the funding for for different projects and perhaps some sort of incentive system for people who are operating on this network. Now, I'd never spoken to you about this personally, but I just in different things that I was able to glean from what you have said online. Um, you think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the no incentive is the best incentive might not be the best. Would you say that?
I think David means something else with it, or has a limited scope. to where it applies, and I think that's being misinterpreted. But then again, I'm interpreting what he says as well, and I maybe I'm wrong. I think he means he refers to
Mania, what's up?
uh,
Thanks for the follow.
the
I'm not
governance
always listening
of
to the
public,
interviews, but this is
and
just something for the
I think you
community.
cannot apply
Thanks for the
it
follow. That's awesome.
to
You're great. Thank you.
the dynamics and the economics of running infrastructure, for example, because you always have an incentive, or otherwise you wouldn't do it. The incentive might even be that you feel good knowing that people connect to your node, right? That makes you, that gives you this warm feeling that people set up a connection to your machine. That still is an incentive for you. You have an incentive to run it. I think I think everyone has an incentive. We have an incentive to run public infrastructure because our entire business relies on catering the XRP Ledger ecosystem. So um, let's say we would
Hey, Mania.
not
How
run
are you?
public infra,
Are
which
you
is
part of
hugely
the
important
crypto
to run your
community or
business.
just
Also
stopping
for us,
by?
we contribute a lot as a company
Anyway,
to
I'm glad
running
that you're
infra.
here.
But let's say we wouldn't, then all our users will have problems connecting to the XRPL. And we're going to get a lot of support tickets from people who say, I can't fetch my transactions every now and then. And we get bad App Store reviews from people who say, this is a shitty wallet because I just sent a transaction and it didn't make it true, right? So our incentive is pretty clear here. But still, the costs of providing this infrastructure to the ecosystem, which we could do just for our own business, but again, then
Everybody has a talent.
you wouldn't have a healthy ecosystem, right?
I'm sure you're not
Or less
useless.
healthy. Let's say we would spend 30% we do today in infra, and we would only run it for Zaman users,
Maybe you're
and
doing art
the
as well.
public infra and any other project would just have to run their own node or use Ripple's public infra. What are we doing then? And we're all back to connecting to Ripple, and we just established that you need more and more expensive hardware to be able to keep up with the ledger, and we would create an island where we only serve our own users. What are we doing then? So I think we all have an incentive to run infra, whether that's uh, just based on economics, financial incentive, because we want to sell some pro subscriptions and Tangent cards, and we can only do that if people use our product. And we want to have them use our product successfully, they also need to be able to connect to the ledger successfully. Um, but yeah, I think the incentive could also be the fact that we don't want to operate a network where only a handful of entities contribute the lion's share of the public infrastructure.
Let's shift it, Wietse, because I want your opinion on this. Because there's a lot of people who have brought up the fact that they don't feel there is a sufficient number of developers on the XRP ledger, and I
I
think there's
agree.
I think yes, and I think there's a to me, and what I've been able to surmise is that there's a number of reasons for that. The XRP ledger is fantastic for moving value, but it over the years, I think to its detriment, it and to its development hindrance, it hasn't had the ability to to have smart contracts on it. It hasn't had NFTs up until you know uh, uh, almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half
And by
ago.
the way, when you think you're
It hasn't
useless in
had
the internet,
AMM, but it is
you can listen
proof
to
of
this
stake,
one.
and it's fantastic for moving value. And people like you
Maybe
who
it'll explain a few
have
things.
built different payment systems on it. But what would you say is the main things that are keeping developers from building on the XRP ledger? What are the main things that are keeping people from joining the XRP ledger and rather joining a whole bunch of other blockchains?
Yeah, I think we're addressing the wrong people. I think, I mean, there are many reasons, but primarily, I think we're addressing the wrong people. We're trying to convince people who already know EVM and who already mingle in EVM development spaces. We're trying to convince them to try the XRP ledger. One, they're badly informed. Two, there's an elephant in the room. And three, they will always compare it to what they already know. So if you try to gain developers, if you try to attract developers from an ecosystem where you have a 1% success rate even getting them to look at your technology because of many, many reasons, you're not doing it very efficiently. I think we're addressing the wrong group of people. I think we're addressing people who are already biased. I think we're already addressing people in a niche. Um, and I actually think this is what attracted me to the XRP ledger in the first place in 2016, 17. Is we have, as you just mentioned, we have amazing technology that's very relevant today. We have the technology featuring the first DEX. It is native. We have native, well documented features. You don't even need a smart contract
Is
for
that
it.
a word
And
in your language?
most of the
Which language is
people
that?
I talked to in the past who would complain about the XRP ledger not being interesting enough because it didn't have smart contracts, I would ask them, what's the contract you would need? What's the contract you would miss if you would if you'd use the XRPL, which doesn't have smart contracts? And they would say things like token issuing or a DEX. Well, there's a native DEX, and you can natively issue tokens. No, but
Well, it's not.
this is actually pretty stupid because one, that means
I know
we're
German,
not
that's
getting
no
the
German word.
information
It's not
across
even a German letter.
the right way. But even worse is that once you tell most of these people that those things are present and they're native, they're like, oh well, this interesting, but still I don't like the fact that it's centralized, right? So there's a lot of misinformation here, but you're trying to convince people who already have their mind made up. What attracted me to the ledger was the fact
There
that
you
you can
go.
do many
What
things
does it mean?
very easily, very efficiently, very fast, and that all of these features are native. And who would use them? Why would you use them? You would use them if you already have a
This is
business
Boxing
or
Glove.
already have a platform or already have something that might leverage what the XRP ledger can bring. So don't don't market the XRP ledger to other blockchain developers. You have a 1% success rate. Market it to the people who could upgrade their business, their existing business or platform with what the XRP ledger can bring. They have no bias. You can only bring them features they didn't have before, and they already have a platform or a product. And there's just no way they can develop something as easily as they can on the XRPL because it literally takes only 3 lines of code in your browser to connect to it. So yeah, I think we're trying to sell blockchain to blockchain people, while we should sell a potential solution to business people.
I really like that answer, and I don't know if I've heard it particularly phrased that way, but I've thought a lot of things just kind of in a different way. I've thought a lot of things along those lines. And for our project, and other people are building a lot of their own projects on the XRP ledger. For the one that we're building right now, which is myself and my friend Michael, we're building Zerpay, and there's a lot of
So you are
value being
Swedish?
transferred in the token. Okay, so we created a token. It's fantastic to create tokens. It was the original Dex. That's no problem. Great. Token creation is fantastic. Sending of value in that token is absolutely fantastic. No matter what time you're sending it,
But you
no
like
matter how
talking
much or
Swedish,
little,
obviously.
it is done efficiently and effectively. And then on top of that, we have NFTs, which can be used as utility NFTs. They can be used as art NFTs, whatever. We now have native NFTs to our ledger. That's great. Um, and also, we're building a gaming platform in which on the back
Albania.
end, it's going to be connected to check people's wallets, make sure they have XRP
I
holdings,
heard
make
that
sure they
it
have
is a
USD, so they
secret, a
can
good
access
tip
a play to earn gaming platform
for making
to play
holidays
to earn
there.
in the
People
server
like
for
going to
building
Albania.
the custom games that we
Beautiful
make.
beaches.
And then to be able to extract that value from the platform, we don't have smart contracts yet, but it is really easy and efficient as far as once again sending that value. But I tell you what, people within this blockchain, and also without
So this
this
is his
blockchain,
hand.
it's an uphill battle because people who are already involved in the XRP ledger, there's a stigma because a lot of them are only about
This is one
XRP and
hand.
that's it. They just have a badge
He
of
has a big
XRP. They
hand.
don't want anything to
Spiders have
do
big
with
hands.
anything that's being built on the XRP ledger because they either see it as a ploy or a distraction. And then number two, people outside of this blockchain have this stigma that's a long running stigma. And I don't think it's been sufficiently corrected. People can make inroads, but I don't think it's been sufficiently corrected over the years. I think there's still that stigma. Shockingly, where people don't know certain things about it. They think it's centralized and so on. So what our plan is to do it person by person for people who don't even have anything to do with blockchain at all. Is
I
that's
have
the people
Albanian
that we're going to
friends.
open it up to and try and market our business to those people, showing them that it'll give them value
What
in
kinds of
using
different
it
languages you learn
on their
in
terms.
Albania?
So
Yeah.
that's our plan.
That's I love that plan, and it, even to people who don't want to have anything to do with blockchain, who don't care about blockchain, the
Yes,
proposition still makes sense, right? Because it's still an open platform. You have no vendor lock-in. You have access to the same information and network everywhere, anywhere without right. So even the value of the network would still be there if one entity pulls the plug. It has advantages, but I think I think most of the people don't even care about the blockchain. Of
yeah,
course, with as developers or enthusiasts in this space, we do. But the people who will actually use the very first thing someone builds on the ledger that really catches on in retail, those users won't care that it's blockchain because
they
the
don't
retail
give it.
doesn't care. They care about working
Right,
solution.
right. They won't have to give a shit. All they will care about is whatever value it's going to give them. Like, oh,
Yeah.
can I
So
make this payment easier? Oh, can I
yeah.
order?
So we can actually summarize this to uh, market the XRP ledger to people who don't give a shit. That's
Yes, I no, I love it.
about
let's
blockchain. Yeah.
let's market usable things that people will be able to extract value in whatever it is that you're providing to people who don't give a shit about blockchain or don't know about
Why do
blockchain.
you
That's
know
what we're
so
going to
many
do.
languages? Ian?
Matter of fact, I'm going to steal it. That's
I
what we're
guess
going to
that's
do.
your hobby.
Uh,
Less internet, more
at Ripple
languages,
Labs, we're going
right?
to create an awesome gaming platform that's geared toward people who don't give a shit about blockchain. But Wietse, okay, let's
I like it.
let's do it. Okay, you guys heard it here first on XRPP and the Dog Show. Okay, fantastic. I want to bring some other people up here. So anyone, I will have to be kind of selective, but anyone who wants to come up and talk, you are free to request. But Wietse, I really want to talk about Zahal because, and maybe I'm seeing this totally wrong. I don't know. I don't think I am. But once again, you're a pragmatic guy, but you're also a proactive guy, is what I've seen over the years. Like you want to
When
get
you
shit
can
done,
Afrikaans,
and
then
if no one
you
else is
can
doing it, you're going to
also
do it. And I see
Dutch,
Zahal
because they are kind of
as
related, right?
one of those things. I think that you wanted to get essentially the XRP ledger launched with the Hook smart contracts. And please, if I'm saying anything wrong, please correct me. But you were tired of waiting, which probably would have been a very long time, even though we've already been waiting over 10 years. We would have been waiting a very long time longer in order to
I hope you
even
get to
get
use those
Hook
too.
passed or
Like you're
tested.
going to these
But
areas and trying your language
I'm
skills
starting
out.
Zahal with some people, and we are going to do it. And I think overall, not only is it going to be good for this, I see it as some people say it's a side chain. I see it as its own layer one.
It's
Um,
so it started out, the original idea was a sidechain. So I get the confusion, and I also get the comments sometimes like, you said it was a sidechain. Yeah, I did say it was a sidechain one day because it started out, we planned it as a sidechain. I think the way it turned out is not a sidechain.
This is his thumb.
So um, yeah,
well,
and you're
and
right. Get things done. There are several things that contributed to this decision. One you already mentioned, waiting for this to go live on mainnet for all the right reasons. All right, it's a huge amendment. No single person can comprehend all the lines of code contributing to adding hooks to the network. It just takes a tremendous amount of time to look through the amendment and have a discussion about how to solve certain things,
What's your mode or how do you
include
learn
functions that
those?
input, and
Do
then
you
have
watch
a
the
discussion
series? Do you
to
have a program?
iterate
Rosetta
towards an
Stone is
amendment that we know
well
further
known.
on, and then get confident with it. Would take too
Bubble
long, and we don't.
in
We
Lingua.
have actual use cases for it, right? We have so one of the things that changed significantly in the past years at XRPL Labs is that we started out as just a bunch of guys
Duolingo.
funding
Wow,
a
nice.
ledger that turned
My
into
brother
a
does
business,
this
that
too.
turned
He's
into
learning French.
a business that had to, well, take care about business development as well. To most people, were the developers of a wallet, and then to others were also the geeks who provide libraries and infrastructure. But
Hmm.
I think after 5 years, we made it to the point where we are we
That's
have
impressive,
today
man.
as well a proper business, right? We have someone working on
Plans to go
our
to Korea?
IP. We have
Travel there?
partnerships to sign, where people can use what we've built and where we can showcase what's possible with the technology we've built. There are a whole number of things that require hooks. We set out to build hooks because we need it. We actually need it um, to to um, to realize the things we want to build for the next 5 years, the things we feel are required to keep all this entire operation viable and feasible and make sense. So we set out to build hooks, and at some point you're at the point where you think we're done, and then you realize that for all the right reasons, it's going to take much, much, much longer to get it to a point where you can actually use it. Time we didn't have because, as I mentioned, we're a business too, which means that if we cannot build and deploy the pilots I'm talking
The
about,
hand, it needs to
the
go thicker.
MVP I'm
Okay,
talking about, it
I
means
like
we
where the
have
head
no
hand
business
is
to be in,
going.
which means we are basically a charity towards the ecosystem, and there's no outlook on us being able to sustain ourselves in 5 years because we're I think we're doing a way better than average job in the blockchain space, but we're not able to sustain ourselves. And we should in a couple of years. So we have plans to realize those plans. We need composability. If we don't have that composability on layer one, because we need it on layer one, then we're building on the wrong network. And that's something I refuse to accept. So we built a solution, we needed the solution. And then indeed, you have to be pragmatic. How do we get the solution today instead of 2 years from now? So that's the how. And I think the beauty of having the how is that we also
I have to make those
get a place
boxing
where we can
glove
showcase the
thingies a
future
little
in
bit shorter.
production and get people the
They're
confidence
not
they
that
might
long.
need to consider the feature for mainnet some time from now. And
I
and
love
this
that.
yeah, and this get things done mentality applies not only to hooks, it applies to other amendments and changes as well, and even very small amendments and changes. And I think what we
Hmm.
managed, and we in the broad sense, right? Everyone who's contributing to the how right now, which is a very great group of developers in this ecosystem, all of them are still just as active on the XRP
Are you
ledger,
fluent in all
also
those
seriously
languages?
also doing things on the how. We move very, very fast, and we all want to. Yeah, I think we have a slightly higher risk appetite when it comes to deploying new features versus potentially breaking things. And I think you can even see that in the amendment vote lock-in time, where on the XRP ledger, if you get a majority, it takes 2 weeks for an amendment to go live, and on Zahao, we lowered that to 5 days. We just want to move fast, and we have a network now where we can move fast. We have a group of people who have the same mentality and are
This finger is
careful
too thick.
voting on things, but at the same time also just want to move ahead. So we have less scrutiny when it comes to what should go live and what shouldn't go live, which is obviously also because we don't have $1 billion running over the network on a monthly basis, right? So that's an easier position to be in, to have that mentality. But I think it's very valuable
Right.
to have a network where we can have this mentality because it means we can do more, we can build more, we can pivot more, we can find out more, and all of these things are actually very, very useful for the entire ecosystem because all of these learnings apply to whatever gets deployed to XRPL mainnet one day as well.
Okay, so I want to be clear about certain things. Whenever I'm hosting a show and we start talking about technical things, I try to think with the mind. It's not that hard for me to try to think with the mind of people who are tuning in, who are fans of the XRP ledger or whatever's going on with new things like Sahau or whatever, and they just don't have a basic understanding. So, um, the XRP ledger, okay, is the XRP ledger essentially Zahao is kind of a kind of a copy of the XRP ledger with some things turned on and some things turned off because anyone can do that if they wish to. With also the implementation of this thing called hooks, which is the
How do I make
actual
this finger without
smart
making it look like
contract,
he's
I guess you would
broken?
say, software addition to the XRP ledger that was never approved to be on the XRP ledger mainnet.
Okay,
And it
I
has
like the
its own
energy of the
token, the
pose.
Zahao token. It was originally, you were kind of knocking around different ideas, like should we make it XRP plus? Should we make it XRPP? Well, maybe you didn't say that, but that's what Zahao is, and it's being implemented by Wietse, XRPL Labs, and some different people that are working with you guys. Did I say anything wrong there?
Um, no, I'd say the others aren't working with us. That suggests that it's us with others. I think we're all contributing on our own things, and there isn't. If so, for example, if XRPL Labs would go today, Zahow still exists, right? So everyone's working together. But no, that's completely right. And well, the hooks are obviously the thing people think about with Zahow. But another example also already went live on testnet, which is uh, um, remit transactions, where you can wrap. It's basically a batch. You can wrap multiple transactions in one transaction. All those things are just much easier to deploy on a network where the stakes are, I'd say, a little less high than on the XRPL mainnet, and where because of that, the politics are less. Because of that, you can move faster. Because of that, you have a smaller group of people who are all having a direct line with each other um, to make things happen. So yeah, the networks coexist, and I think they greatly contribute to each other.
Okay, fantastic. And Tammy, I will get with you in a second. Tammy, who is with FIO, who actually did the security audit for Zahao and Hooks and Evernote and so on. But Wietse, what is special? I want you to address this. What is special about the Hooks smart contracts that's maybe unique or something different than, say, an EVM smart contract?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is where they live, the workflow, how they are implemented. So on EVM, a contract is a basically a third party account. So it's another account. It's basically someone else's account, and someone else is then probably the contract itself, right? So it's another account. If we compare it to XRPL, to the XRPL, it means if you have R whatever as your address, then the contract lives on R something else. And if you want to interact with it, you have to send something to it, and then maybe it sends you something back, right? You interact with what is to you on the
One.
ledger a third party. The biggest difference with what we did with hooks is that contracts live in your own account. They become part of um, the entering or leaving of transactions
What's up,
in your
everybody?
account. And to give you an example, if you would have a building and you would want to interact with something,
Let's give him some
with an object in
band
EVM, it would
band-aids
mean
here.
you have to leave your front door and then go into another building, do something, and come back. And on Zahao, it just means that you can add multiple doors in your hallway, and you have to get through all of them to be able to get your business to the other side, outside of your building or inside of your building. And
What you're listening to is quite
it's
technical
a
right
really
now, but
interesting
we're gonna go to a
way
trivia
to
show
look
quite
at
soon, I
smart
guess.
contracts, because it's almost a blockchain replica of how we look at applications in app stores on your phones, for example. You you install certain apps on your phone, and they add certain functionality to your phone. It's still your phone, it's the same phone, and suddenly it can do more, and suddenly it might change the behavior of the phone. And all you have to do is just install something on your phone. And it's kind of similar the way we build hooks, where you install something on your blockchain account, on your on-chain account, and suddenly that changes the behavior and the rules that apply to your account.
So is that kind of the value proposition of Zahao and Hooks? Because of course, there's a ton of different blockchains, and there's it seems like there's more and more every day, and like a lot of different blockchains are vying to get businesses to build on them and to get big businesses to be part of them and so on. You got, as my friend Jim Cramer says, you got Cardonzo and Solonzo and
Yeah,
Polygon, just all of these smart contracts, these layer ones now, and they're all vying to build. So what do you see as like the main value proposition for Zahao and Hooks?
I think the value proposition, what I just explained, is a part of it because it allows you to do things that are otherwise impossible or just
This
not
arm is a
feasible.
little bit too thick
I
here.
think the value proposition shouldn't be about hooks. We are not the same as what we discussed just now applies. We are not selling hooks. We are not selling the XRP ledger with or without hooks. We're selling a solution that allows you to efficiently uh, build things we have already invented into a technology that allows you to do certain things very efficiently, exchange value across the world in several assets, in different types of value. And they can contribute to how people run their businesses, charge their customers, get paid, deal with trust. Some of those things should be dealt with programmatically, and that's what hooks bring. So we're not selling hooks; we're just increasing, I'd say, the value proposition of the XRP ledger, which is not about the blockchain itself, but what it can do for businesses.
Tammy, let's go ahead and ask your question. And anyone else, I'm gonna have to scrutinize who comes up, of course, but anyone else who wants to get up here while Wietse has time can certainly come on up on stage, and maybe we'll start to get into some more heated discussions as well with some of the conversations that have been going on and taken place over the past couple of weeks. Tammy, go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks. I like to talk before it gets heated. Then I'll go off and cook the family dinner. But hi, Vitsa. I don't have a question as much as just a comment off of what Vitsa said, which we are living proof of, which is that when you create a network that has things on it that are really good for real businesses that have been building real things to actually achieve that thing, that little last mile that they couldn't do. I mean, those of you that tuned in to listen to Vitsa earlier and then heard Fio sing in four-part harmony how much we love Zahao while we were riffing, waiting for waiting for Vitsa, heard Thomas say, "Hey, we've been mulling around with our decentralized identity solution, CryptPass, which we finally named and are going to go. But we needed some things around credential sharing that we can do now because Evernode launched. Why did Evernode launch? Evernode launched because Zahao launched. And so I'm just commenting on the fact that, and we're talking about a real world use case. It wasn't like it was XRPL or bust. It was we need to bring this to the market so that we can give people self custody of their own passwords. And then this added functionality to enable us to more effectively do that. So now we're sprinting hard to release it finally.
Yeah, and Tammy was on our earlier show with Thomas and David with Fio as well, and I really look forward to that. And what's it called again, Tammy? Because I know I tweeted out it's
Oh,
Crypt.
yeah, Vitsa. We haven't caught up, but yeah, we finally named it. It's called CryptPass, KRYPTPASS, and thanks to this network, we're gonna be able to release finally our MVP and then build
So
on top of
we're
it,
doing the
assuming we get
bandages right
full
now here.
adoption, all the credential sharing that's more secure, which we've been trying to do for years.
The birth of CryptPass. That is awesome, and I can't wait for it. And Wita, are there other people that and anyone you can share that are building things on Zahao right now? By the way, I'm shocked no one has requested to come up here on stage. You guys are just the petrified audience. Is that what you are? So I tune into these other spaces, and it's like 800 people are up on stage talking about all kinds of stuff, but all of a sudden, no one wants to jump up with XRPP and Wietse Wind. What's going on here, blockchain trucker backer? What the hell? What is
I
this
have
all?
no idea. I think it's they're seeing the picture of me next to David, and so being that he looks small next to me, and they don't want to come
Oh,
up here. I mean,
oh,
it
that
makes
that
sense to
must
me.
be it. And yes, colonels who are waiting for the death hot dog to start. We are going to roll into that at the end of this. So stand by, but I'm not going to bring you up for actually this. Okay, fantastic. So Wietse, is there anything you can share about other people who are building things or planning on building things on Zahao?
No, I mean, there are people in this community building things on Zao. There are also a couple of things we recently found where people we don't even interacted with before are building interesting things. That's cool. What would be what would be really exciting is if we get like the people, the businesses from outside of the community to build things, but we're not there yet. And I also think that we have to address a couple of things before we can focus on getting the message out there and maybe consider DevRel or even a traditional BD, but then focusing on working with companies to like improve or fix actual problems instead of selling blockchain and smart contract technology. Um, one thing is it should be easier to get started. It should be easier to write hooks. It should be easier to explain what you can do with it, and we're not there yet. So that's something we should work on. At the same time, we have resource constraints because most of our time still goes to the XRP ledger and Zaman and those things, and that shouldn't change. We're going full speed ahead with what we're doing there, and we also have 5-year plans for our proposition in when it comes to dealing with XRPL interaction, basically a wallet, but then completely different, a wallet for 8 billion people instead of a wallet for the XRP community. So yeah, it's at one point it felt like Zaha is basically the hobby project while we're working on the other things, but we're also getting some traction, some real BD on things that actually need Zaha features. So yeah, it's interesting to see how we can get there because I don't want to grow the team too much. At the same time, um, maybe at some point we have, and then I think it would be a good idea to separate basically the team into two groups where with a lot of collaboration, cross contamination. Under the same roof, but where you have a specific focus, where you have the XRP Ledger wallet client ecosystem focus, which also can grow into something much more than it is today. And on the other hand, I'd say almost an infrastructure integration business for companies and businesses and developers who want to build interesting things that scale and that have a global scale.
Let's start to get into something a little more controversial. Are you game, Mr. Wind? Are you
Sorry.
game for something a little bit more controversial? Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. One of the things that we've been talking a lot about in the space is people's, especially people who are building in this space, is their need for funding. And once again, I'm shocked no one else is requesting to come on up here. I'm looking at you, Backer, DS, Vet, Kai. I'm looking at all you guys in other spaces. We talked about it a lot yesterday, but there is definitely a need for funding for people who are building projects on the XRP ledger and probably who are going to be building projects on Zahao as well.
Yeah, I
So,
could squeeze in.
excuse me?
I could squeeze in if you have time.
Oh,
I
yes.
could have some questions. So first of all, thank you for hosting XRPP,
Oh,
and
well,
thank you, Wietse, for being with us on XRP Ledger. So it's definitely you're one of the people who contributes to the development of XRP Ledger, probably the most and the most well-known person, and your input cannot be overstated. But when we talk about the how and XRP Ledger, so let's make a scenario. We as a company would like to scale into other blockchains. And so it happened. We are looking to go into the how. So we have been on XRP Ledger for some time now. We know all the drawbacks. We know all the benefits of the ledger. But now we know that the how exists. And essentially, it is somewhat similar to XRP Ledger. But when we talk about the numbers, so we know that XRP Ledger is 150 million market cap. it has parent company who has some sort of dedication to the development, and they sit on a huge pile of cash which they could influx into the ledger to make it larger. But then there is you and your blockchain, which in technical terms might be the greatest blockchain ever built. But the reality we operate in is that blockchains, they don't have to be just the best. The best blockchains are those who have the most support from the VCs, from the community, from the marketing perspective, and simply from the use case scenario. We have highly inefficient blockchains like Ethereum, and it is still number one. We have some speculative blockchains like Cardano, which people still use, and it has even more application than XRP Ledger, and it has even more money than XRP Ledger. Then we are moving to the how. Essentially, here we are downscaling like in evolution food chain. So if XRP Ledger has $100 million in circulation, then we would expect the how to have maybe 10% of that value. And the question here is, how do you plan to attract the money to the blockchain? Because one of your comments was that we should sell blockchain to non-blockchain people or people who are not familiar with EVM.
We shouldn't sell
But
blockchain at all, to be honest. And I think that value will be a result of interesting things being built. The value is not why people should build on it in the first place. Because
but why the how?
if people build on a certain blockchain because it has a certain amount of value, because of a token that is created out of thin air, and suddenly people started to believe and trade in it, then again you're selling a blockchain, not a technology.
Yeah, so in this case, the question is, why does the business need a blockchain at all? And how the how is better than any other EVM or non-EVM blockchain? And there are great layer 2 blockchains which have lower transaction fees than XRP Ledger, much faster settlement time, and much wider communities.
Yeah, and I'm actually I wish I had the recipe to get there. But I do believe that Zaha has a couple of features. So the XRP ledger has a couple of features that are just better implemented than other networks. XRP ledger still doesn't get the same love as the other networks. I don't have the answer. And Zahao has a couple of features that other smart contracts solutions don't have. Um, who I believe the combination are valuable for businesses who want to build something that does require like basically a global database, and where the openness of that global database is important, and where you have no vendor lock-in, where everyone can use the same data and funds, where users own their own data and funds. I think there's a use case for that. We have found several, and we're working with companies to hopefully make things happen that at some point all of you will see. Um, and you can probably develop all of those things, be it less efficiently on any of the other chains that, in terms of market cap and developer activity, are miles ahead.
Okay, and XP Market, thanks for that. Uh, Wietse, do you so other blockchains have organizations that do a lot more funding of different projects that are building on their blockchain. I I want your take on it because, of course, in this situation, of course, the elephant in the room is Ripple with a lot of funding. They announced that they were going to be giving grants of $1 billion XRP worth. Much to my surprise, I just found out that in the past 3 years they've only given $14 million dollars worth, which is, I mean, that's their prerogative. But it just was kind of surprising to me how, if they wanted to make an investment in the space to kind of spur on XRP Ledger developers, how it was sort of it was just seeping out like that amount, which I think is not that impactful. Do you have an opinion as far as um, funding coming from either some kind of DAO or something created on the XRP ledger, or coming from Ripple, or what have you. What's your overall take on that to begin with?
So I think that my primary take on this is that it's very, very, very hard to give away money. And that sounds really stupid, but it's super hard, because as soon as you start to incentivize people to build and reward them for it, what you're probably going to attract, especially in this space, is not people who actually are going to contribute by building a lot. You're going to attract people who want the money. And the sad thing is that there are actually many people in this space who have the skills to build things and who had plans to build things and who applied for funding. Some of them got their funding, but even with them getting their funding and building their cool projects, it's very, very painful to see that a whole lot more projects delivered nothing and got equal amounts or more. So it's very, very dissatisfying to those who build. It's very dissatisfying for those who watch the ecosystem, the community. It's very dissatisfying for the one giving away the funds, Ripple. I can I cannot imagine them not to be very unhappy with the fact that they gave away only 14 million and haven't found a way to properly put that funding to work, because many great things have been built, but way more completely useless, unfinished things have been built or funded. And I don't think you can even blame them for it, because I know or I really don't believe you can blame them, because I know how much effort they put in reviewing proposals. It's I'd say it'd be worse than fixing my entire family's printers on someone's birthday, to have to go through all those proposals from people who maybe 90% just try to get money. It's depressing, and it's very hard to filter through all of that and then find the projects with people who are not using ChatGPT to sell their bullshit and actually want to build. There's just no way you can get it fully right. So yeah, giving away money is super hard, and this is not just a blockchain project, but problem, by the way. My wife and I consider ourselves lucky. We both have a job. We love our job. We are healthy. I have a family, and and we're able to save money, which means there's some excess money. So we try to identify a project, a business, a charity every year, and make a donation. And we don't just want to send it to one project or charity. We really handpick one every year around Christmas, and then donate anonymously. Um, it is super hard to find a good charity as well, because we try to do it locally here in the Netherlands, somewhere where you can have just a little bit of impact with people you trust. And I'm going to research, right? If I'm going to donate savings from my family, I'm going to check your last 5 years of reporting, financial reporting. I'm going to check who the board is. I'm going to, right? That's public information. They have to publish that if they are a charity. And it's absolutely, completely depressing if you really start to read into these things. And it just means that even if you want to give away money, maybe 1 out of 20 charities remain, because the rest are basically enriching themselves. And yes, they might contribute to society, but not by far in the way you'd expect or want to. So this is not a blockchain problem. This is a world problem, right? It's always hard to allocate resources the right way and find the right people who you can entrust with the right resources and put them to good use. So that was a very, very, very long way to say I don't have a solution, and it's very hard. Um, and so
I,
we've been discussing this many times, but whatever we come up with, there's always a challenge or a counter argument, which doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep on thinking about this and address this, but there's no easy solution. So let's say it would be a DAO, and let's say people get a vote. Then who gets a vote? And what if the best? If what if scammers, the people who run away with the money and contribute little, are the ones who can persuade people best to vote for them, right? It doesn't the change of who gets a say, the change in who gets a say doesn't necessarily mean that funds get allocated better. It just means that a different group of people has to be convinced to make the right or wrong decision.
I
Uh,
really, I really appreciate this thoughtful, nuanced answer, and that's about all that you can say. But I will echo the fact that there are certain things that just do not look good and make builders who are presently building in the space uh, feel pretty shitty. And I am now one of them, and that is things like seeing $100 million that which we know of. This is on record. $100 million going to Forte, and I haven't seen a single thing from Forte, and I'm just shocked, and I just don't know where the hell did the money go. Now, I'm the first to admit that I don't know for sure. I don't know if a lot of things were tried, and but $100 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and I remember a billion. I'm pretty sure it was a billion XRP was allocated when Stefan Thomas went over to Coil, and I was a big Coil supporter. I was the number one most read blog on Coil because of my satire articles at one time, and I didn't make hardly anything off of it, but I supported the idea of the change in web monetization. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was great, and I really wanted to support it with my work. And they got a lot of money, and I felt like they ran it very poorly. That's just my honest take on it. And so I'm seeing different things like that that just kind of blow me away, like massive amounts of money. And then to see $100 million going to Forte very publicly, and then realizing that only 14 million have gone to different developers. I understand the challenges, and I agree with you. It's got to be so hard, but it's a massive amount of money. And I will ask you, do you know how do other blockchains do it? Because other blockchains are giving away more. Their foundations are giving away more to builders on their chains. I know that they are.
I
So
don't.
do you know how they're doing it?
I have
But
no
XRP
idea.
Ledger is like the only blockchain I'm aware of where the grants team will give you the whole amount of money in one transaction. So imagine you getting 200,000 grand from XRPL grants. This is the maximum you can get. And you will get this 200,000 straight away. And this is ridiculous because when we say that we cannot blame Ripple Labs for not properly allocating the funds, we actually can. Because Ripple Grants is a separate team which has their own team of employees and they have resources to handpick the projects. They have resources to manage the jury. And other blockchains, you will never ever get a grant as a whole sum straight away. It will be separated into 3 to 10
Well,
lumps.
hold on, XP Market, hold on, because I've spoken with other people who say that it comes in payments. So maybe yours was right away, but other people get them on milestones and on payments. I
At,
know this because I've spoken with others.
at least till wave 5, I definitely aware that it was just a whole sum of money straight away. And after you just get it, like what's your motivation to build? But okay, like even if you implement KPI based send of the money. So first of all, they have to track it, and no one tracks it publicly. There is no mechanism to be transparent and see whether the project which was awarded a grant received the full sum amount of money, or maybe it abandoned the projects after the stage 2 and his grant went back to the pot. Then another point is the selection of the judges. So just one concerning thing to highlight that the jury who is selecting the project, some of them might not even know how the blockchain operates to some level. On the jury, there are also some VCs which have no stake in XRP Ledger. So how can you judge a project when your VC fund has zero investment in XRP Ledger? So these are the questions that can be asked, and there are great members of the community on XRP Ledger that could go to this XRP grants jury and become like industry representatives. I myself, probably 2 years ago, even before I built a project on XRP Ledger, applied to be a jury on XRPL. I was still in academia back then, and I wanted to be from the academic representative, and I was denied. Then I applied as a project, and I was also denied. And I'm just wondering, like, what skill set you have to be to judge who gets money, who doesn't. Why you're not able to implement KPI-based solutions. If you can't do it in-house, outsource it. There are projects on XPRL who can provide the infrastructure to do this. So allocating money, I agree that it is difficult to do so, but difficult in a sense that you have to scout for the right project. So this scouting is probably the most complicated. But once you find a product and a project, you can incubate them. You can basically take their hand and walk the whole way from the start to the end and make them great. Because financial support is just a droplet. What you get with financial support, which is business development, marketing, mentorship, that's another story. And XRPL grants actually provide this if you're able to break through the corporate level communication. Yeah, good luck with that, I guess.
I think there's more to it actually. Not you made a really good point, and I agree with what you said. I think there's one component missing, and I think it's missing almost everywhere when people discuss grants. And I also share this with people at Ripple, and I actually see some of this being addressed by other foundations and ecosystems, by entities giving funds away. And I think it makes a difference. I think it's important for people when they apply for the first time or the second time that they have an outlook on a next round. On that there's an opportunity to, if you do well, continue for a longer period of time. Because if let's face it, people don't have endlessly a spare amounts of spare time, right? So most of these people, if not all, they have an idea, and it is a hobby project. They have their jobs, their families, and then after work they start to build whatever they pitched and got a grant for. It will stay a hobby project. If they succeed, they need to be certain, fairly certain, that there's a future and that there can be another grant and maybe even a third grant, and that they can get a grant to the degree where they can turn their hobby into a startup, into a business. You have to make sure that people feel and believe and know that they can turn their hobby project into something that allows them to sustain themselves and their families if they do it full time for a much longer time. That's when you get people to commit. That's when the crazy people do crazy things, like cancel their job and go full time building the craziest shit. That's also when people are incentivized most to make it work, because at that moment they have everything to lose and they're excited and they have a plan and you give them an opportunity. So I think maybe even more important than giving the first grant is giving the second and the third and the fourth grant, and allowing people. And this is I think what what happened with XRPL Labs. I in the early conversations I had back then with our contact at Ripple, Vanessa. She's no longer working at Ripple. She's a great woman, and she really knows how to support a team, how to make a team feel supported, how to fight for an idea. What the feeling she gave us was that this wasn't just a one-time thing, just go and build your hobby project. This was a make this work, build a company endeavor, which as a result made Tristan, Ali, and me, the first three of us, just go all in. This was our job. We did this 7 days a week, every day, and we had a plan, a multi-year plan, and the funding wouldn't sustain us for multiple years. and we already knew that we were going to be building multiple years if we wanted to make this work. And that actually happened. We got supported again and again. And um, the fact that you know that you have runway and that at the end of the runway you can have a conversation again and you might be supported again as long as you do a good job. And we all want to do a good job. We're all passionate about these things. The fact that there's an outlook is the most important thing. It changes everything. It changes a hobby project into a business.
I
And
agree. Wietse, I agree. And if you take a look at what you guys have built and how many other projects have been built utilizing your technology, like most of these projects, they are utilizing the Sumwaller, now a Zaman wallet. And if you look at that investment that Ripple and Vanessa, I think it was Pastrito, was
yep.
her name, Vanessa Pastrito made in you guys, and that continued support. I don't know your situation, but I don't know if you guys would have gotten off the ground the way that you did without that support. And I just don't know. Maybe you can tell me that
One,
you have.
I can guarantee you, we wouldn't have been able to. We
Well,
wouldn't have been able to make this
there,
work. So
there you go.
I got the question like, why do you think it worked with XRPL Labs and it didn't work with many others? And my answer was exactly this: because right from the start, we got the feeling that if we went all in, things were going to be fine.
Well, and you know what's funny? Like I don't think that a lot of most of the places building here, I don't think that they can count on any uh, dropping of mana from heaven, i.e., Ripple, sustaining them. So a lot of us, like myself and Michael, we're putting massive amounts of our own money, this is true, into building this project without taking anything for ourselves, so that we can just do it. And we're working every single day to build this project. But I'm telling you, it would be so much easier for us and sustaining for, which is just sitting there or just thrown at Forte with no visual result. And then we see a billion XRP given to Coil, and I saw how they ran it. And then we see $100 million worth of XRP that's just sort of sitting there in a few Chris Larson wallets, obviously not protected because it was compromised. And it's just like, good Lord, what we could have done with just a tiny fraction of that, and we're working our asses off, and I know others are as well. So it's a time of frustration, and that's it. And then when I hear a success story about them supporting you guys in the early days, you're intelligent guys, you're innovative guys, you're hard ass workers, and that was a little bit of water to let the plant and the flower grow, and other things have been created off of that. So I am definitely an advocate for them. Yes, I know it's hard, I know it's difficult, but I'm an advocate for them opening up the damn purse strings a little bit more and
Yes,
doing
thank
the
you.
same thing that they did.
And in no
So I
way
know
I'm
it's
a
it
programmer, but
can't
I
be
have interest in the
easy
technology, and I've
that
just a
that
short question.
makes this
When it comes
successful
to
because people
creating
really helped.
and growing
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
chain, like what would you say, Wietse, is the like, I don't know if you can simplify it that far, but what is the most important point in growing a chain? Is it like getting people, developers to build on it? Is it the number of users? Is it to like make sure there's enough funding? Like, uh-huh. Okay, so you can't simplify. All right, understood. Yeah, thank you for all you do, Pizza.
All of it and more in random order at any given time. It's a chicken egg problem.
Understood. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, indeed. And Cass is I consider him a friend. Cass, I remember sending you back when you did the illustrations for that video that I had made
yeah.
back in shit. It was back in late 2018, early 2019. Sending you 1,000 XRP as a gift.
XLPP, wasn't it
Because
even
man, it's so
over
wonderful
Tipbot?
to send
I think it
XRP
was
to
even Tipbot,
somebody
right?
from the United States over to
Yeah.
Germany as payment for services.
Okay,
He's
okay,
a
okay.
wonderful
I'm
friend of
wrong
ours.
there.
Cass has been a friend of mine. He's a really talented artist
Hmm.
and a great
XRPP,
guy.
wasn't it even over Tipbot? I think it was even Tipbot, right?
Was it? No, no, no. Because at the time, I think Tipbot only allowed you 5 XRP total.
Okay, okay,
Max.
okay. I'm
So
wrong there.
but it was over some wallet, I think. But
Hmm.
no, notice you guys notice that the audience has grown because, of course, the great Mr. Blockchain backer. So XRPP and Wietse Wind is not enough, and Cass and Tammy and Blockchain Trucker and XP Market not enough. As soon as the great blockchain backer shows up, the audience grows. Backer, welcome to the stage, man, to carry on with the conversation.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me up on stage. And Wietse Ben, it's an honor to be up here with you and have an opportunity to talk with you. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to listen to any of the past spaces, but you kind of hit exactly what I was about to talk about, which is the chicken and the egg problem. And, with the Zaman wallet, um, I kind of have two questions, two different topics I wanted to kind of hit on really quick. I think we'll do Zamenwalt second. And I do apologize if you have already covered this, as I did miss the first 30 minutes of the show. But I did notice a tweet that you had made maybe about a week ago, and you had stated, that a lot of your attention for the last several months had been the focus on the survival of your company.
Yeah.
And would you mind elaborating on that at all? Like, what is the problem? Is that a fall off of user activity? Is there something that happened running out of funds? Or, obviously it's your business, so you really don't even have to say anything. But if you do you feel
Just
like talking about that?
Yeah, just a combination of things all at the same time with a different amount of impact. So it's a challenging time for some of the people at the company. So they have to focus some of their time on different things. It has been challenging from a uh, uh, resources perspective, right? So the runway was we were running out of runway, so we started to have conversations months and months ago, but these things move never as fast as you want them to move. And at some point, the end of the budget was in sight, and yeah, that's that's very stressful for the entire
Yeah,
team. But especially if you feel like 100% responsible for this, I can I'm very happy that I can share all of this and that I'm doing this together with other people at the company. But it was stressful, and we found yet again we found a solution. So there will be XRPL labs in Zaman for another period of time, but we have to immediately continue these conversations because we added some runway, but it's not enough to uh, to keep the ship afloat to the point where we believe we can sustain ourselves, because that's still going to take a long time. I mentioned before that I think we can be very proud of what we have achieved so far as a company in the blockchain space, because most companies um, make no money and just fully live of VC funds or grants. Yes, that contributes to our operation as well, but we're selling Tangem cards and we're making a profit on them, and we are selling some pro subscriptions and we're making a profit on that. Which, by the way, all of this is only possible because the entire community supports us, right? Whenever people buy a Tangem card or some pro subscription or anything else, uh, that's literally directly what they're doing. They're supporting us. They're allowing us to do this for a longer time. But to really be able to sustain ourselves, we need to monetize solutions. Again, not sell blockchain and not build a wallet for a community, not just, but also make sure that what we're building gets implemented in something that makes sense in real life, and monetize that as a normal business, right? And I sincerely
absolutely.
believe that we can get there. We also have the plans to get there, but it will take several more years. And the runway we managed to secure only just weeks ago allows us to keep going for 6 months. So that means we have to spend these 6 months not only to build, but also to make sure that there's more time after that. which again I'm optimistic about, right? So this is part of running a business. This will work out. We made it work out for 5 years. We'll make it work out for another 5 years, and I'm excited to do so. But yeah, it is consuming this process.
Sure, sure. I appreciate you answering that. And a little follow-up question on that. You say run out of runway. Would that be that just, there's not enough revenue coming in, or is that, and I'm not going to sit here and spend this conversation talking about Ripple should be funding people. I'm going to completely divert from that topic entirely, and you'll find out. We'll talk about data here in a second. But what was that, running out of Ripple funds or Ripple grants, or was that just there's not the revenue slowed down? Maybe like did user activity slow down?
No, user activity increased the last months, and thanks to some of the things we worked on and rolled out in November, December, we had a very successful December month, which we are paying the price for this January because everyone willing to buy something from us did so in December. So now January is very quiet. But no, I think adding the option to pre-fund Tangem cards in a way, right? So to add some balance to Tangem cards, allowing people to give them away to family and friends with some XRP on it, that really boosted the Tangem card sales.
Nice.
Of course, some of the hardware wallet competitors failing miserably over and over again also contributes to selling more cards. We've been more active publishing information, sharing information with people, taking them along on this ride through our blog, for example, which has a direct impact on people wanting to support the team and getting a pro subscription. So I think we're on the right track, but the audience is just too small, too narrow, right? So all of you, all of the some users support us, but we're talking about around 150,000 monthly active users with a certain percentage that then wants to support us. But that's a very limited amount of people in this audience. So one of the things we can look at is how we can expand the audience, which is a good thing anyway, right? Expand the people in the space. The hard way to do that would be, again, to sell blockchain, to market our crypto ecosystem, our blockchain, our technology, because again, the audience is limited, and it's a very hard sale. The harder thing to do, but the easier to scale that would be to address basically 8 billion people, to build a solution that everyone might benefit from with zero interaction with the actual blockchain. Shouldn't even be a blockchain product, and leverage the XRP ledger as the rail, as the technology under the hood. And that's one of the things we definitely have ideas about for the next years, but it takes time to get there. And yeah, in the meantime, we're only 25% there when it comes to being break even. So we're burning money every month.
Okay. I appreciate that thorough answer.
There would be a solution, by the way. If we wanted to be self-sustainable today, we could, by firing 3/4 of the team, basically.
Okay.
But what you would get is a small company that just sustains the wallet, basically, which means you would break even immediately, but you would destroy any opportunity and ability to scale this and actually make it work in a way where this gets bigger, and this is an actual company and doesn't only just build a wallet, but builds an entire app or platform or infrastructure for value exchange.
I think that's a really good point to make, because when you alarmingly hear, XRPO Labs is barely floating, barely getting by. Well, I've run companies before too. I've started companies before too. And many times when you start a company, you take on a massive amount of debt, but you're growing at a rate. And sometimes that debt increases even more because you're looking towards further growth. And then it gets really overwhelming. But then you could just say, hey, you know what? We're stopping here. and we're just going to like coast from here. And so you're still choosing to continue growth, and that is why it's like that. It's not a situation
Exactly.
of
It's
things are falling apart.
it's a decision too.
Right.
And if we would really have to scale down, then that's what we have to do. But I think it would be a shame to do so, because we're not only building our wallet and our infrastructure for developers to interact with others in the ecosystem. We're contributing infrastructure to other projects. We're building libraries that people rely on in their projects. I really think there are few uh, uh, builders or projects who don't use something from us in their stack in whatever way. And if we'd had to scale down the company to the point where we were self-sustainable, which we would be able to, and that's something I'm really proud of, because many companies in the crypto space are not in a position where they can say that. But if we would have to scale down, it means we have to scale down all those endeavors where we contribute to the entire ecosystem as well. And I will fight for not having to make that decision.
Okay.
If we
Uh,
if if you let Tom Kuster go, I'm not following you anymore. That's all I
No
have to
one,
say.
no one will leave the company. We secure we secured more runway.
Um,
Okay.
thank you. The next thing that I want to move over to is the chicken and the egg problem, and that was just asked just a second ago. Users and developers, and it's chicken and an egg. It's both. It's all at the same time, or it's all randomly. It's all that. Coming from what I actually wanted to dive into is maybe potential data from you, and if you have any data to follow up on, with your business, like you just mentioned, 150,000 users, and a small percentage of them purchase your product. And so I would assume that on your end, you make the correlation. How do I get more active users, and then or increase your target market, which then turns into conversions, right? What do
Yeah.
you think it is that holds them back, or you know the we've gone through a lot of data, and it, like if there's one person to ask, it's you, in regards to how many developers are on the XRP ledger in relation to other different platforms. And what is it that holds them back? Is it that there isn't a strong enough economy? Like I think to myself that is it the chicken and the egg problem? It's the we had a big debate yesterday, but if there's a strong customer base, that it's like an economy, right? Like let's pretend there's a city, right? And in that city, there's 10,000 people who reside in this city, but there's only one gas station, right? More gas stations are going to come and get built there. If there's a big city and there's one grocery store, maybe another competitor grocery store will come in there, and more businesses will come in, more projects will come in to capture that user base of citizens that live in this city. Um, do you think it is a situation of there not being enough active users participating in anything that also prevents the developers or the builders to come because there's not the economy there for them?
Yeah.
And
So I don't think I have the answer, but I have a hunch, and it might be completely false. And I don't even like the hunch or the answer. um, I think so. This flywheel effect you see in different ecosystems, I think, is a result of um, many things I consider useless, and so there's, or not useless. Useless is the wrong word, but if you look at some of the successful ecosystems, they got a lot of users because of a lot of hype with a lot of issued tokens who would eventually just rug or die, and other networks would get a lot of hype with NFTs that would be sold or pumped or whatever, and then dumped, and then projects died again, right? So actually, uh, a lot of users went to those spaces, and maybe they sticked, right? And maybe it attracted other developers. So maybe it was good. Maybe it served a purpose. But I think what I see in the entire blockchain industry is that um, the more useless the stuff, the more the hype the more people and so developers it attracts. And I think the XRPL basically had zero hype and has always been trying to catch up with the hype that happened elsewhere, at which point it was already gone. And the next thing came around. Um, this double-edged sword, by the way, we did realize exists. When was it? 2-3 years ago, when suddenly you had a lot of token issuing projects on the XRPL, right? You would have new tokens every week, and people would buy and sell it on the DEX. And suddenly people had 100 trust lines, and we had to improve software to deal with that. And it was annoying at the time, because suddenly you have to reprioritize, and you have nice features you want to ship, and you're spending your time on improving how many trust lines can be displayed, and you're providing support to 100 people a day about their financial despair because they got robbed with another shitcoin. But on the other end, we did realize that this kind of buzz, um, they are your users. You might
It's a
be able
major
to sell
culture.
them.
It's a
You might
huge
be able
culture
to
of
sell them
crypto.
a pro subscription, right? You might work on conversion. So, and that then yielded another frustration. Actually, is that most of the people who use the network and your product for these things are not the people who are going to support you, and they're actually they might write a negative review on the app store because the app loads for 2 seconds because they have 200 trust lines, instead of supporting you to change that. So yeah, I really don't think I like the reasons why other ecosystems got a lot of traction, and some of them just have great technology and very clever minds building, and some of them are doing really innovative things when it comes to cryptography and proof and decentralization, and they deserve all the user base and developers to build on those chains and with them. But the vocal ones and the visible projects that really attract users, those aren't the kind of projects I want to work on. And if that means that we get a lot less traction right now, and then maybe get more invisible traction later, right, where we abstract the entire technology away and we build something people actually can use in their daily lives, then I think that's just fine. We're not trying to go after the same craze that we see in other ecosystems. If we would be developing in those ecosystems, because it's easier to switch ecosystems than to try to attract that to your ecosystem.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm also curious too on attracting that audience, right? Um, like you said, it kind of like the conversions that end up happening for people who download the Zummon wallet to eventually purchasing your products. Maybe it does attract some, but it attracts a lot, whatever, and then only some stick around. But that should just be
Yeah,
kind of the flow of everything on how it works.
there's an
But it
interesting
also
thing there.
it's also a huge culture part of crypto, and it's been like that since I've been in here, right? First half of 2017, just it is just crypto. It's the Wild West. Be a part of it, um, and that is a major culture part of crypto.
Yeah.
And
There's one thing everyone keeps on forgetting when it comes to conversion and monetizing your work in the crypto space, and that is that the biggest audience, and maybe from future growth perspectives, maybe the most interesting audiences are the ones with the least to spend.
can you elaborate?
Yeah, so most of our users are in countries where $5 are a huge $60, so that's a $5 a month some Pro subscription or buy a $30 Tangent card for to keep their assets safe. But in some countries where we have many users, that's their savings for a month.
Sure. So let me trying to get my train of thought here. When do you find it that I am trying to solve the chicken and the egg problem? If you don't know that, that's kind of the direction I'm going in. How do we solve the chicken and the egg problem? Because there's a very clear correlation between developer activity and user activity and how that really propels growth. And we just kind of seem to be stuck on both of those and not really making any movement on any of them. And so we're trying to figure out how do we crack that barrier to increase activity, create an economy, and then also attract developers. And then like the flywheel just starts going off, right? When do you see the most like downloads for Zaman? Formerly Zam? When have those moments happened?
Without a doubt, when the price of XRP increases.
When the price of XRP increases, your downloads increase.
I hate having to give this answer, but it's market movements that yield the most downloads.
Okay, yeah, and then I explain that to other people all the time. So some who are listening who know what I'm saying.
So I guess if you look at the chart, you understand why why there's a chicken egg problem. No, that's a joke.
Yes,
but,
no, it's the truth. Price rises, interest rises, and things go nuts, right?
Yeah,
that's its own thing.
The market dynamic is like a sinus, right? It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. If it goes up enough, people get interested. They talk to each other on birthday parties, and then someone wants to play with it as well, downloads the app, and then the market goes down again. And let's say a certain percentage sticks around every time, right? That's how it slowly grows. But I kind of hate it that the ecosystem grows because of speculation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how this works, right? So it's fine, and I know that many users are using our application not because they like us or because we add value to their daily lives. They're speculating, and they feel safe holding their funds and managing their self-custodial wallets with our. I would be much happier if we build a product that people can use for non-speculative things.
Okay. So, I mean, let's address that. Is your goal to make it to where
In their daily lives without even realizing they're using a blockchain.
right?
So the usability of what we have today, combined with the openness, self-custodial blockchain as an infrastructure can ship to users with new solutions for payments, for value exchange, and I think there's room for a solution. Again, it will be hard, and yes, another chicken egg problem, but success to me for XRPL Labs and for what we are building is not measured in how many people use the XRPL realizing that they're using the XRPL. It's in how many people are using it without realizing they're using the XRPL.
Okay. This will be my last one, and I'll let you go. I've just beaten you down, man. I guess I did see an interaction between you and Jungle Inc., and I think he had been talking about user interface and making it more easier to purchase.
Yeah, he's right. He's right, though. I pushed back a bit, and I think things are working relatively well. But we built a reasonable user-friendly crypto wallet, and I think to expand the ecosystem, not by attracting other blockchain interested people, but really attracting everyone basically, we need to build an app where people have no dealing with anything blockchain or DEX or tokens, and can just easily use the app as if it's a fintech app, as if it's
Yes.
your yeah.
Have you ever had any conversations or created any type of focus groups amongst just regular, ordinary Joes
We're
and
that's,
asked
that's
for
that's
any
exactly
feedback on UI?
yeah, that's exactly what we're working on right now. So
Bam.
we
It's
know
awesome.
we know what we want to build, how we have to build it, what we want to address, the features, right? We have the must-haves listed for a V1, and DJ working on our team. He's a UX designer, and he's actually kicking off the process where there will be indeed interviews and sessions and iterations to start working on that. But we only dare to go full speed ahead on this if we secure more runway. So this 2024 is actually the year where we start this, and where we and this we will succeed, where we secure what we need to make this happen for the next 5 years.
Okay. Well, if you ever want any feedback from me, my DMs are always open. I really appreciate you answering all my questions, and I agree. I always try to explain, like when I'm doing my YouTube videos, like my number one goal is to make it so easy that a grandma could understand what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
I think that's the key to any type of UI is make it so easy a grandma could use it. Like you said, where they don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time. I'll go
to the discussion. And yes, you make it so easy that even my grandmother.
Yeah, I wanted to say one more thing. You said you don't like that the downloads were the highest when there's hype around the price, and I completely understand that. And the XRP ledger was always about like they want to convince through utility and features and everything, and not through hype. See that most of the downloads hype around the price through these periods of time where the price is the highest. If we see the blockchain culture is that they react to hype, don't you have to be to a certain extent hypey to respond to that and to be successful and not only 100% focused on utility? Although I can feel like you're resisting against it, right? You have to be to a certain extent hypey to respond to that and to be successful and not only 100% focused on utility. Although I can feel like you're resisting against it, right?
Well, I appreciate the user base and people using and trusting the product, and I'm appreciative of the fact that this gives us an entire audience to build for and test with and get input from, and maybe sustain us to some degree. But the fact that it is blockchain culture and just part of this ecosystem does not make me like that fact. I have had way too many conversations and way too many support tickets, or my team had too many support tickets from people who lost their life savings because of the speculation. I think speculation will always be there, right? People will speculate on anything, place bets on anything, and that's fine. I don't reject or resist that. I perfectly accept that. But I think we should do everything within our power not to build for that. They can use our products, and I'm happy that they stick around and do all the other things we're happy with. But the speculative aspect of the space is not sustainable. People come, they win or lose, and they go again, rinse and repeat. And this is not sustainable. If I build a product with my team, if we put all the effort and love and resources and energy in this, I want to build
Mhm.
something that allows people to do something to contribute to people's lives to
Yeah, understood.
in any way. And just speculation, wave after wave, isn't that? And I've seen the ugly sides way too many times to accept that maybe that's just it.
Yeah, understood.
Okay, I'm going to bring up one more guy here and see if he has a question. Emmett, go ahead. Question for Wietse Win before we let him go.
Hey everyone, thanks for inviting me up on stage to speak. Really appreciated the sentiment here on chicken or the egg problem. I'm in the blockchain space too. The company that I work for sells regulated entities. So we're pretty much the biggest blockchain network that you've never heard of because we don't have a coin to speculate on. But yet we face a lot of the same issues with how do we move a market or create a market in this space. And I mean, we're going through these conversations every day. What you're saying on how to incentivize people is super relevant, and I think that's a massive part of the problem. I think one of the other sides to this equation is a lot of people just aren't focusing on use cases of value or are trying to shove a square peg in a round hole in terms of using a technology for a specific use case. I'm wondering, like, how much of that do you run into? Like, do you think the market really understands the business case behind, like, can they put together a solid business case to fund a company or fund a project?
I don't think I fully understand the question. Sorry.
So like one side of it is incentivizing builders,
Yeah.
and then the other side of it, I think, is understanding how do you actually build a business? How are you going to build something of value that you can monetize? And I think a lot of it, like you see it in the market, there are so many POCs, a lot of big companies trying to dabble in this space and they get stuck. And part of it, I think, is based on the technology and not selecting the right one. And then the
Yeah.
other side, I think, is not understanding how to put the right business case together.
Yeah. No,
Wondering
well,
if
and there that's true, I think, and there's another problem, and it is you just mentioned it. Um, they're trying to recreate what they have right now. On a blockchain, and then maybe expect magic. You sell subscriptions, and they are, I don't know what, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a month, and then you can read all the articles. And now let's say you would pick the XRPL or any other chain for these $5, $6, $7, $8 payments every month, because you have less transaction fees and you have instant settlement. So they're going to get the money a couple of days sooner, and they're going to pay a little less transaction fees than they're doing right now with the regular payment processor. And as a result, they are going to spend a lot of time on research and development, build blockchain integration, then to realize that they have a potential audience willing to pay on this ledger that's smaller than the amount of people living in the street behind them. And it's a failed project, right? This is what we'd see today. Now consider this. Let's say the Wall Street Journal realizes that more and more people are canceling subscriptions because we all get to spend our money once and our lives are getting more expensive. So more people are canceling their subscriptions, and another really clever guy at the Wall Street Journal realizes that their news can cater the entire world, not just the US and West, and that maybe someone in Africa might be willing to pay for the articles they write, but that person wouldn't want to get a subscription for multiple dollars a month. So let's say uh, they would launch blockchain integration while at the same
I can hear you, XLPP. I can hear you. I think we lost him.
Who's Wietse Wind, or can you guys still hear him?
I can
I've
hear
lost
you,
him.
XLPP. I can hear you. I think we
Okay.
lost
Yeah,
him.
yeah, I think we lost him.
Okay, we might have lost Wietse. I'm gonna message him and see if we can get him back. Oh, looks like he dropped off. Okay, and blockchain backer, what he took blockchain backer with him. Oh my goodness, Emmett, thank you so much for coming up on the stage and asking your question. If he comes back, we will have him finish his example there. Okay, here he is. Give me just a second. Boy, it was such a disturbance that not only did it take out Wietse Wind in the Netherlands, but it also took out blockchain backer in his fortress in Antarctica, which is where he is. Go ahead, Wietse. Just
I'm exist. And I think we need to look at blockchain, at DLT, at whatever rail we're building on more in that way, where we're not replicating what we already have and just magically expect it to do better. We have to like think about new and better solutions.
okay. Hopefully that answers your question, Emmett. Are you satisfied?
I mean, I could talk about this for hours, but yeah, that's really appreciate the insights.
Well, and thank you again for asking your question. And Mr. Wietse Wind, thank you so much. Your time is precious. You have all kinds of things on that plate, and you always just get a bigger plate. You never make excuses. So my hat's off to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I speak for the entire audience when I say thank you for all of your work and everything that you're building, because once again, what you are building is not only going to be good for you and the people working for your business, but it's also going to be good for the ledger. It's going to be good for of course, for Zahao, and for a lot of people who are building on those two blockchains. So, Wietse, thank you so much. And I just want to remind you, you still have to get a car that is probably up to its hubcaps now in the sinking soft soil in
Yeah,
your back.
looking forward to it.
Wow. Good luck. And if you can, tweet a picture as you're pulling it out. I think he likes to manually pull it out of there. So tweet a picture, please. I'm sure we would all be interested. And you are welcome back anytime. I would love to have you on again on another XRPP and the Dogs show.
It would be my pleasure. Thank you for hosting this and having me.
Okay, well, you have a good evening over there in Amersfoort, and good luck getting that car out of there. Okay, guys, now, one of the things with the Zerpe project is we have gamified everything. So, yes, not only do we have a gaming platform that's coming very soon that you're going to be able to connect your Salmon wallet up to verify that you have one of our NFTs, to verify that you have at least 5,000 Zerpe, and that is going to be your access pass to our play to earn games. So, not only that, but we have a gamified community, meaning that if you hold one of our major or kernel or general NFTs, you can join our Discord. You can say, hey, XRPP, hey, Zerpe, I want to be on a team. And what does that mean? Well, it's just a lot of fun, is all it is. You put on a team. We have missions every single week. Fun missions. None of them are hard, but you can earn Zerpe every single week. And one of the missions that we have is our death hot dog game. Okay, so Colonels, I am rolling this in. Yes, never been done before, where one of the dog shows, because this is a late one of the dog shows is rolled into a death hot dog. So Colonels, this is your notice to get your asses up here. The only one I see so far is Flash Boss. I'm going to bring him up. Let's get this thing kick started. Death hot dog. Oh, what shitty game show music that
Sounded
is.
death hot dog now.
Two competitors so far.
It's just two players.
Okay, so what it is, guys, I'm going to ask a series of quizzes. They are 10 unique questions that are going to be asked. If they get a 7 out of 10, then they pass the Death Hot Dog quiz and they get a point, which is going to equal some Zerpe at the end of the mission week. If they get a 10 out of 10, that's right, if they get a 10 out of 10, then they actually get not only a point, but they get 1,000 Zerpe for themselves. Come on up, guys, and those generals who are
King
here
Rich,
to notify
go with
your
him.
colonels, get their asses up here, because if we reach our final quiz, even if it's only 2 of them, I'm ending the show. Okay, let's get it kick-started first. Cass, who's going to be my first competitor?
King Rich, go with him.
Okay, King Rich, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. This one's called Real Cut of Beef or Fake. Are you a fan of the beef, King Rich? Do you like the beef, or are you a vegetarian?
No, I like meat.
You love meat. You love the beef. But how well do you know your cuts? 7 out of 10, you pass the quiz. 10 out of 10, you get 1,000 Zerpe for yourself. Just make sure you don't get any more than 4 wrong, because I should say any more than 3 wrong. If you get 4 wrong, you get one of these and you do not pass the quiz. Okay, King Rich, real cut of beef or fake? Is what I'm about to say, is it a real cut of beef, or is it something made up in the mind of XRPP? Question number 1, brisket, real or fake?
Brisket? Fake.
Brisket is indeed, you're not off to a good start. Brisket is indeed a real cut of beef. Oh boy, it's not looking good for the meat lover, King Rich. 0 for 1. Question number 2. Frigate tip. Frigate tip. Frigate tip. Real or fake?
Fake.
That is indeed fake. You're 1 for 2. Good job. Question number 3. Sloot. Sloot. Is that a real cut of beef? A sloot?
No, it's fake.
You got it. 2 for 3. Things are looking up for King Rich. Number 4. Short round. Short round. Is that a real cut of beef, or is that fake?
Real.
Short round is a character in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It's not a cut of beef, but nice try. You are 2 for 4. Oh boy, and 6 questions to go. I don't think it's looking good for King Rich, but anything can happen. Number 5. Real cut of beef or fake? Shank. 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 Real cut of beef or fake?
That's real.
That is real. You got it. You love the shank. Number 6. Is this real or fake? Tender mange. Tendermange. Tender mange. Is that real or fake?
Real.
That is fake. Tender. What the hell's a tender mange? Tender mange? Isn't that a dating app? Tender mange? That is not a difficult proposition. That is, you have 4 questions left. You have to run the table. You have to get all of them right. Otherwise, you fail the quiz. I don't know what to tell you. Number 7, tri-tip. These, then I'll give you 100 Zerpe just for your efforts. How about that?
That would be great.
He says it's better than nothing. Okay, number 8, Eye of round. Is that real or fake? Eye of round.
Fake.
That is real. You just don't do too well at this quiz. Okay. You got to run the table on the rest of these
Yeah.
if you're even going to get your 100 Zerpe. Okay, number 9, canker steak. Cankersteak. Canker steak. Is that real or fake?
No, that's gotta be fake.
It has to be fake. Yes, indeed. Canker steak? What the hell's a canker steak? That is fake. That's from the book brain of XRPP. Finally, for your 100 Zerpe, center Zerpe loin. Is that a real cut of beef or fake? Center Zerpe loin.
I'm going with fake.
Yeah, that is not, indeed, that's not a cut of beef. That's a cut of dog. There you go. Well done. Center Zerpe loin is a cut of dog. Okay, so you didn't succeed in getting your point. You're going to have to go
No.
back to your General Alaskanyu hat in hand and apologize to him. However, you did get 100 Zerpe that I will send you after this just for that awesome effort. King Rich, thank you so much. And now, guys, any colonels down there, any colonels come up, because if I ask Flash Boss this next quiz, and he's the last competitor, well, then I don't give a shit. I'm just going to end the show. Yes, this is not a normal Death Hot Dog. Normally, I have a show dedicated to Death Hot Dog. We rolled into it because we had 2 dirty dogs today, 2 hanging with the dogs today because of our special guest, Wietse Wind. So, Colonels, get your asses up here pronto. Otherwise, I'm going to end it. King Rich, do you have your helmet on? Of course you do. Look at that PFP.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There he goes. I always ask if they have their helmet on because I drop their asses through the floor. No matter where they are in the world, I don't care. They have a trap door. Pass the quiz. Doesn't matter if they get 10 out of 10 or 0 out of 10. I drop their asses down. Flash Boss, another difficult quiz coming up. Are you ready for it?
Hopefully.
Oh, shit. This one's a spelling quiz. Flash, how are you on the spelling?
I suck at
Oh, he
spelling.
sucks at spelling. Now, this one's going to be really difficult because it's, I don't know, it kind of has a theme, I guess, looking at these, but maybe you can determine what the hell is the theme as we progress through the questions. Now, I'm going to start you out with an easy one. Spell T. Spell T. No, no, not the letter. That would be too easy. Well, first of all,
TEA.
okay, TEA, I will accept that. Now, how do you spell the letter T?
TEE.
What? The letter T is TEE. No, that's Mr. T. What do you, that's T. What? Okay, you know what? I feel like dropping you down just for spelling the letter T with 2 E's in it. How do you spell the letter T?
I honestly don't know.
Flash Boss, it's T.
I'm dying.
How do
Oh,
you spell the
just
letter
T.
T? It's T.
You
Is
just
this the
say T.
quality of
Okay.
people that I have as part of the Zerpe project? They can't spell a letter? Okay, here, you know what? I'm going to go to one of my generals. Hey, blockchain trucker, how do you spell
Yes.
the letter? How do you spell the letter W?
You put 2 V's together. It makes a
No,
W.
you don't put 2 V's. What? VV? That's how you spell the. You guys.
VV makes W. You didn't know
It's
that?
no. Do you spell W? W. Okay, how do you Flash Boss? I'll give you one more chance. I'm gonna drop you down and I'm gonna drop you down into the fire if you don't answer. How do you spell the letter O?
O.
There you go. See, you're learning things. Okay, you spell the letter O. O. Well done. Now, you're right though. You know, you got the more difficult one, which is tea. The tea that you drink, yes, you spell it TEA. So you're actually 1 for 1. Even though you couldn't spell the letter T. I'm totally confused. All right, number 2, spell the word boba. Ooh, boba, as in boba.
BOBA.
BOBA. Look at this guy. He knows his T and he knows his boba, except if it's the letter T. Number 3, moving on. This one's a little bit more difficult. Spell the word tapioca.
TAPIOCA.
See, this guy knows how to spell. Does he know how to spell cassava? Question 4.
Gelatin.
Nope, not in time, not in time. That was way more than 9 seconds. And I have a feeling that someone is working those fingers in a dastardly way. Searching how to spell gelatin. I think I just caught him because that took way too long, and it was more than 9 seconds, so that was totally fair for me to give him one apiece. So I don't want to hear it about from any audience member or from any competitor. Flash Boss, it was not in time. Gelatin, yes, was spelled Gelatin, but let's move on. How do you spell starch?
Starch.
Oh, there you go. I don't think he was searching that one. That one he pulled out of the Flash Boss head. Number 9, spell Taiwan. Ooh, what does that have to do with any of this stuff? Spell Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Wow, after not being able to spell the letter T, you've really you've really improved my opinion of your spelling after getting these right. Well done, well done. Taiwan is indeed Taiwan. Number 8, spell matcha. Matcha.
Matcha.
Matcha. You got it. Good job. And you know what? You've only missed one thus far. So even if you get the next 2 wrong, you, Flash Boss, have gotten a point for your team. Well done. Well done. Good job. That means that you, at the end of this mission week, are going to get whatever the equivalent is in Zerpe. Now, for those of you who don't understand, there is an amount of Zerpe, a pot, every single week that is set aside for our Zerpe army members who are doing missions. Now, if only a single person does a mission during the mission week, they get the entire freaking pot. But that's not normally what happens. Normally, hundreds of people are doing missions, and so it's divvied up amongst them. But what this means is he's gotten a point for this, and that means it is going to equal a certain amount of Zerpe, which will be paid out to him next Wednesday. This happens every single week, guys. Let's finish it up, Flash Boss, and let's go for your bragging rights. You don't get the 1,000 Zerpe, but let's see if we can finish it up. Spell Chia. Chia. Spell it. Who we learned today actually had a regiment of spy cats that they trained. That's a true story. The CIA did back in, I don't know, it was decades ago. Spy cats. Number 10, for the bragging rights, spell mochi. Mochi. Spell it.
Mochi.
Wow. Now, how are you so good at these flash boss? You can't spell the letter T, but all of a sudden, all of these beverages and roots and flavors and, tapioca and cassava and all this. How are you able to spell these things? Are you a big fan? Is that what it is?
I do like boba tea sometimes,
Oh, so that's what it is. He says, I do like the boba
and I
tea.
watch those matcha
I like,
videos.
oh, you liked matcha videos. Okay, so what the hell's a matcha video? You watch matcha videos?
Sometimes they make them, how they make it.
Okay, well, that's fantastic, Flash Boss. Everyone has to have a hobby, so congratulations on the matcha videos. And I hope you enjoy your next round of boba tea. Think of me the next time you do that. Flash Boss, put that helmet on. I'm going to drop your ass down.
It's on.
Okay, there he goes. Whee! Oh, shit, the helmet fell off. I think that's going to be a massive head injury. That's okay. That's okay. Or maybe it'll correct. Is over. We only have 2 more shows that we're going to have before the end of the mission week, and we're at dinner's XRPP. Hey, that's not my fault, guys. thank you so much for taking part in this show, for hanging out for the Death Hot Dog. We are going to probably have to have a Death Hot Dog over the weekend. I'm not going to say whether it's tomorrow or the next day, but we will definitely have another Death Hot Dog before the weekend. And join us on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, where we kick off the week. We always do it on Mondays and Fridays to kick off and to end the weeks with our XRPP and the Dog Show. Always informative, always fun, and then we play a little trivia at the end of it to give people some free Zerpay. Once again, Zerpay is a project on the XRP Ledger. We are builders. Yes, indeed, we are. We're building our asses off. Look out for our gaming platform that's coming soon within the next month. You're going to be able to connect to it. You're going to be able to play to earn. We're first and foremost going to make some kick-ass fun games to take part in and play. The earning part is just a cherry on top. Also, like I said, if you hold one of our NFTs, you can join our Discord. You can get on a team. You can compete in shit like this to earn free Zerpay every single week. We are going to continue to build regardless of whether anyone like Ripple comes forward with any type of funding. We don't give a shit. We are going to build out, and we are going to build out hard, and we are going to build out stuff that people like, come hell or high water. Guys, again, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Blockchain Trucker Backer, and also the Blockchain Backer. Thanks for being part of this show. Cass Art, my good friend, thank you so much. Mr. Wietse Wind, and everyone who has taken part in this, thank you. For Michael, the guy who sounds like he's an idiot. He sounds like he's a moron, but he's only French. Hopefully I talk to you this weekend, Michael. Probably working on the project right now. Doesn't want to.
And that is it.
Join us on Monday.
The interview is over. The trivia quiz is done. The Apple AirPods have 0 battery, and I just hit the 3 hours mark on our stream. That's so many signs to call it a night. I hope you enjoyed the process here. The interview was quite technical. Yeah, more drawing soon. We will do the shadows here on that one. We're gonna go in with colors. So whoever was hanging out, thanks again, and I will see you in the next stream.